Hi, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to build a blog application using Django and React JS. So on the screen over here, we have a blog application built with Django on the back end and React JS on the front end. So over here, we have a list of some blog articles. So we can decide to read more on a certain blog. I could click on this, read more. And currently I am on the detail page of this article, and the title is React.js for complete beginners. So I can decide to read the article. I can decide to make changes to it by clicking on the edit button. Once I'm here, I can make some changes if I want to. Just come over and say React.js for, let's say, absolute beginners instead. So you can come down to the body and make some changes if you want to. But for now, we'll just stick with the title of the blog. We are going to simply just add this change to the blog title. And once you've done that, click on the button below, click on it. And once you've clicked on it, you can see right here, our blog has changed from React.js for complete beginners to React.js for absolute beginners instead. So you can come up here, click on this button to create new blog article. Click on it. And once we are here, I can decide to create a new article. I could just say Node.js for beginners, right? And then I'm going to paste the content. I'm going to paste the body of this blog, paste it there. And so right now we have this as a body of the blog, right? And I'm going to click on this button to create this blog. Click on it. And once that is done, we have an alert on top that tells us as our blog has been created successfully. And if you scroll down, you will see that we have Node.js for beginners created. And you can come over here, you can decide to delete a certain blog in a stand. I will come down here, click on the read more button, click on delete, and then yes, I'm sure the blog is gone, right? So in this video, I'm going to show you how to build this blog application using Django and React JS. So don't worry, I'm going to guide you guys all through. So if you have any questions you might want to ask, feel free to drop it in the comments. So without further ado, we'll be getting started right now. Okay guys, so as for the source code, I have 3 different repositories for the source code. The first one here, which is this one here, this is the template. The template built with React. Understand? This is the front end template only. And for the Django blog API, the one on top, this is the source code for the REST API, just only for the REST API. And lastly, for the first one we have on top, this is the template. This is the source code that involved the integration of Django and React. Understand? So this is the complete source code. This is the REST API source code, the second one, and the third one is the template, is the front end template. So I'm going to link the 3 of them in this video's description. So check them out so you can follow along with me easily. So thank you. So right now, let's quickly set up the front end. Understand? So first of all, because you're using React.js, you have to make sure you have Node.js installed. So go down to the browser and search for nodejs.org. Stand nodejs.org. That's in the first link that appears on your page. What's up? Okay. Nodejs.org. So yeah, that is it. So once you're on this site, you can see you have the button here that says download Node.js. So click on it to have Node.js downloaded on your computer. Once you have Node.js on your computer, make sure you have it installed, right? So once that is done, so next now I'm going to open my command prompt. So for the Windows users it's command prompt, and for the Mac users I think it's called terminal. So command prompt, and click on that. Okay, let's wait for it to come on. Okay, my command prompt is opened now. So I'm going to go into my favorite folders for creating my project. I'm going to go into my favorite folder. So as for you, go into your favorite folder or directory to create your project. I'm going to say cd documents, and then I'll say cd React 24. This is my folder here. And once I am in this directory, the next thing to do is to create my React project instance. So as I said before, make sure you have Node.js installed. So right now I'm going to say npm create vit install, and once after I've just hit enter. So we are going to use vit to create our React project. Okay, so right now I'm going to give my React project a name. So I'm going to call it, I just call it blog app -1. Yeah, so yeah, -1. So hit enter. So once I've hit enter now, so you can see we have a list of frameworks, a list of libraries there. So I'm going to go down. I have to also pick React. So use the arrow keys on your keyboard to go down to React. So once you're on React, hit enter. And we are going to stick with JavaScript as a language, JavaScript. So hit the arrow key till you get to JavaScript and hit enter. And once you're there, so now you can see now we are asked to run these 3 commands. So we are going to go down into our projects directory. I'm going to say cd and we'll say blog -app-1 and then hit enter. And once you've done that, now you can then run the next command, which is npm install and also hit enter. So the npm install is going to install the dependencies for our React project, right? So it's going to take quite some time, but we're going to wait for it. Okay, so now the command is done running. So now we have all our dependencies installed. So the next command is called npm run dev. So we're not going to run that yet. So we need to open our projects with VS Code. We are going to run the command code, then dots. Okay, so after writing the command code, then dots, make sure you hit enter. And once you've done that, we are going to have the directory open on VS Code, just like we have here. So once you have it here, so I just click on yes, I chose the authors. Yes, and once we have that, I think we are good to go. So you can then run the last command that was listed during the creation of our React project, which is npm run dev. So I'm going to put my terminal now. Let me make this big. So I think it's better. It's big. The font size is bigger now. So right now I'm going to put my terminal. Click on those 3 ellipses on top, and then terminal. New terminal. npm run dev. That was the last command that we skipped. You understand? So I prefer using the command prompt. So you can see there's a drop down here. Click on it and choose command prompts. Once you've done that, I'm going to say npm run then dev. Hit enter. So once we've done this now, we're going to have our React server, our React app running. So right now, this is the this is the URL for our React application for the development environment. So by default, it is meant to be localhost colon 5173. But right now it is 5174. That's because this application, this one we have here, is on 5173. That's why the new one we made, the new one we created, is running on 5174. You understand? So that's it now. So I'm going to open this on the browser. Just hold down Control and then click on it to open it on your browser. So let's wait for it to come up. So it's loading. Okay, now it's done. So now right now this is the landing page for our React project instance. So our goal now is to make this page look like this, right? So that's the goal. So right now let's start working on that. So right now let's simply display a hello world message on the screen. So right now we have a customized design. So once to simply display a message that says hello world, right? So so we're going to come down here. So we're going to simply, okay, so now over here you can see we have a folder called node_modules, and this folder contains all the dependencies for our React application. It contains every dependencies for the React application, right? So so we are going to skip the public folder for now. Alright, so we have a folder called source, the SRC folder. So this folder contains our components. So every React app is made up of a component. So every React application you see out there is made up of components. I'm going to show you now. So over here, right now, what you can see here, this website you see on the screen was made up by components. I'm going to explain what I'm talking about now. So the NavBar section, the NavBar on top is a component on its own. It's a standalone component. This Jumbotron, this part that holds this message, is also a component. You get, so this heading you see here, this section that holds this heading called recent blogs, is a component. Instance, so in React, anything can be a component. Instance, so React is built by components. So I'm going to show you that when we start developing this application. So these blog cards, they are also all components. Each of them is a component on a standalone component, right? Even the footer is also a component, you get. So right now, as I said before, React is made up of components. Our components are all located in the source folder. Understand? So right now I want to simply display hello world on the browser. So come down here. So you can see every component ends with a .jxs extension. Understand? Because currently we are using JavaScript, that's why it is JXX. When we are using TypeScript, it will have been TXX, right? So right now we have this component called app.jsx, right? So this component is the parent components. Every other components are being placed inside of our app components. What you see on the page is coming from the app components. You get, so right now I'm going to simply empty this page. I'm going to simply empty the page. Yeah, so it's empty, right? So once that has been done, so right now we also have our main.jxx. So this component you see here is responsible for displaying this app components on the browser. Understand? So we only have a single HTML page, and that's it here, right? That's what you see here. This HTML page, you only have one HTML page. You get, so this HTML page is responsible for holding every component. It's responsible for bringing the components together. React apps are known as single page applications, right? That's tell you, and you can see that here. And we only have one HTML page. I'll tell you that React apps are single page applications. You understand? So over here we have the app components. This component you see here is the parents components. Every other components are embedded inside of this app components, and this other components called the main.jxs. This component simply helps to pass this app down to this template, this HTML file, and this HTML file then this renders it on the page on our browser. Hope you understand. So that's how it works basically. Understand? So once we've gotten this now, what's the next step? So we have some files here. Our app.css. I want to simply get it. I want to empty it. Ctrl A. I want them to be blank. I want to start afresh. Index.css. So I want it to also be blank. So this file you see here is responsible for the styles you see on the page. Yes, and this is the global style. The index of CSS it is a global style. Why the app.css is a style sheet for the app components. Hope you understood. So right now I'm going to simply empty this file. We don't need the contents. It's gone. So I think we're making progress. Right now I want to create our app component from scratch. So you need to install an extension to help you create components quickly. So come over here and search for EX7. Go down to the extension panel and search for EX7 plus, and that's it. Add the plus sign. EX7 plus, where are you? Okay, yes, the first one. Click on it. So make sure you have this extension installed. It is EX7 plus React Redux React Native Snippets. So make sure you have it installed. Once you have it installed now, so I'm going to right now I want to create my component. I'm going to say RA RAFCA. So with this simple line, I'll be able to get my components created. So I'll just click on this RAFC that was suggested for you. It's called React Arrow Function Export Components. Click on it. You can see right now we have a basic component created for us. Understand? So right now I want to simply display hello world to the screen. Hello world. I told you that the app component is the parent component, right? So whatever you see on the screen comes from the app component. Every other component out there, apart from the main component, this main component, every other components are all embedded into the app components, right? So right now we're going to see hello world on the screen. Go onto your browser and I can see we have hello world. That's perfect. So we have that now, but if we check closely, it's looking quite ugly. So we want to use Tailwind CSS to style our application. So up next, I'm going to show you how to configure Tailwind to work with your React projects. So without further ado, we are doing that now. So guys, over to your browser, search for Tailwind CSS. So I'm going to close here. Let's use this tab, Tailwind CSS here. Okay, so this is the browser. This is the site here. Click on it. So once you have Tailwind configured for our React application, so click on Docs on the navbar. Click on Docs. Oh yes, click on Docs. So once you've done that now, if you scroll down a bit, you can see we have framework guides. So click on it. So once you've clicked on that, just scroll down a bit. So we are going to pick Vits because remember, we have to create our React app with Vits. You understand? So click on this Vits. So click on it now. If you scroll on a bit. So now for us to have Tailwind configured, we need to follow some of the instructions here. Remember, we have already done this. This command here helps us to create our React projects, which we have already done. So we are going to simply skip this step. Skip it. Scroll down. Sorry, I didn't show you something. So after you might have clicked on Vits from the previous page, you can see here it says we are on React by default. So if you want to configure Tailwind for a view project, you come down to this View tab to configure Tailwind for your view projects. But currently we are working with React, so we are going to stick to the React tab. Yes, so now scroll down. So I was saying before, we are going to skip this session and then come down here. I'll copy this line. Copy. Come to see your projects. So open terminal. So currently this terminal helps us to run our application. So I'm going to create a new one to help us install the dependencies. So come on, what's happening? Let's take it. So it's up now. So I'm going to paste what I copied, paste it, and then hit enter. So it's going to simply install it. It's going to simply run this command for us. While it is running it, and then copy the other command. Control C. Okay, it's not done running this command yet. So what could be the problem? Okay, just started. Let's wait for it. So right now we have the command, we have Tailwind already installed. So next now we are going to run this command. Okay, so once you're done now, we are going to run the next command, npx tailwind css, copy, and then down to your editor. You can paste it there and hit enter. So I have that start. So let's wait for it. So while it is trying to install that, we are going to continue. So instead, we're going to copy the content. We're going to copy this, all what we have here. Click on this icon, copy. Go down to your project now. There's a file called. Where's the file? I can't find it. Okay, so the file just got created after this command finished running. So the file is called tailwind.config.js. So open the file. So now we're going to simply remove the contents. We're going to simply remove what we have there, remove it, and then paste what we copied. Yes, so this is what we copied. and think, yeah, this is good. Sorry, terminal. Yeah, so we've done that now. So scroll down, and then I'm gonna copy this and paste it into our index of CSS. Just copy here. Where are you? Index of CSS. Where are you? Ah, here it is. So paste. So that's fine. So once you've done this now, so right now let's go down to the browser and see if the Tailwind has been able to. Let's see if Tailwind is now working on our application. So the browser, you can see now the font style has changed. Right now we have Tailwind applied to our React application. So once you've done this now, it's time for us to start creating the components. Over here, sorry, this is too zoomed in, so here's what we have. So right now I want to start building up our components, and you're going to start from the NavBar, then to the Jumbotron, to the body, and to the footer. So let's start now with the NavBar. So go down to the over here. I'm going to create a new folder called components inside of the source folder. We'll say components. Hit enter. So that folder there. So inside of that components folder, I'm going to create a file called navbar. Navbar.jxx. Hit enter. All right. And I'm going to use the RAFCE snippet. We call this a snippet. So hit enter. So right now we have a simple components. We have a starter components created for us. So we are meant to get our navbar code and paste inside here. So I'm going to get the code and paste it there. Let me just paste this. This should work. Okay, now this is my navbar code. This is the code for the navbar, right? So now let's see how it looks like on the page. Remember, the styles are coming from Tailwind. Understand? So you get. So you check closely. We are using class name. We know in HTML we are used to calling it class, but in React it's called class name. You understand? So that's it. So now let's see if our navbar is on the screen. All we still have here is hello world. Remember I told you that whatever you see on the screen comes from the app components. So right now we have to go and embed our navbar into the app components. Let's go down to the app component right away. I'm going to close this, guys. So here's my app components. Yes, so now I'll simply remove this guy. And I'll then say right now I have to import the navbar components. I'm going to say navbar. So if I complete it now, I'm going to click on it. Once I click on this navbar we have here, it's going to simply help me import it on top. And I'm going to click on it. I've been clicked upon, and it has also been imported on top. And then I'm going to close the navbar. Yes, it has been closed, right? Yeah, it has been closed. And then go down to the browser. You can see now we have our navbar up there. So the next thing for us to work on is the Jumbotron. This part of our blog. Don't worry, I'm going to give you guys the source code in instance to make things easier for you. I'll share the source code with you guys. So right now let's work on the Jumbotron. We call this part the Jumbotron. So let's work on it. So right now we're going to add the Jumbotron. We're going to create a new component file. Okay, sorry. Yep, so I'm going to call it Jumbotron. Jumbotron. And then .jxx. Sorry, .jxx. It's enter. So over here, RAFCE, enter. And just down here, I'll paste in my Jumbotron code. Once it's done, make sure you have this imported into the app components. So my app components are my Jumbotron under here, Jumbotron. So click on this. So it has been imported on top. Right now in React, we can only have one parent element. Right now we're having two different elements. So we are meant to enclose this in a div or a fragment. So I'm going to use a fragment. So I'm going to enclose them inside of a fragment. We are meant to have a single parent element in React. And right now, right now, currently, this part of our React code is called the JXX. And in JXX, we are meant to have a single parent. instance. So that's why I have my React fragments acting as a parent for the NavBar and the Jumbotron, instance. So without this React fragment, there'll be an error. You can use a React fragment, you can use a div to serve as a parent. So this should work. To the browser, okay. Right here on the browser, you can see what we have now. We have our NavBar, the Jumbotron all set. So what next? We want to work on the heading. This part, the recent blogs. Let's work on that right now. So right away, I'm going to create a new component. I'll just call it new file. I'm going to say blog heading .gxx. It's enter. I'm going to say RAFCE. Enter. Sorry, my mic is bent. Okay, it's better now. So I'm going to paste the content for our blog heading, the code. Here as you can see, it says recent blogs. Right, so we're going to also have to add this to the app components. Just under the Jumbotron, we're going to have the blog heading. Then close this, close. That's fine. Let's see what we have on the screen. Right, you can see what we have here. So nice. So the next item is our blog container. We want a div that's going to hold each of our blog cards. So now let's create a component called blog container. So right now let's create the blog container components. So I'm going to create a new file, blog container .gxx. It's enter. So we have that created. We're going to use a snippet again, RAFCE, React arrow function export component. Enter. So once we have this now, so here's our components, and we call this JXS code. It's called JavaScript XML. It looks like HTML, but you can also write JavaScript inside. So in this return statement, this is our JXS. This return statement. This return statement section is a JXS. It is HTML that can accept JavaScript. So don't worry. When we start consuming the backend API, we are going to see some things we'll be doing inside of this JXS. But for now, just follow me along as we set up our React application. So I'm going to simply paste the code for the blog container, paste it there. Sorry, I copied. Okay, here it says. So let me just say Ctrl X to format it properly. Right now it's having formatted. Understand? So we have our blog container. What else? So we need to add the blog container to this. We need to add our blog container to the app components. But before we do that, let's create our blog card. This is what we call the blog card. I think it's this. This is what we call the blog card here. Each of this box is a card. So let's work on that right now. So right now, let's create the blog card components. So over is the components tab again. Components folder, create a new file. I'm going to say blog card.t.jxx. It's enter. And you're going to say RASCE. Understand? It's enter. Right now, I'm going to replace this div with the actual code for the blog card. So paste the code here, and that's what we have here. And we'll check closely. Okay, now we have the code for the blog card. So what's the next step? So if you check closely now, we go down to the page. Yeah, so what we have here, each of this blog card is inside of the blog container. You understand? So we can't just place this blog card into the app components like that. So you are meant to place this blog card inside of the blog container, and then we pass the blog container over to the app component. You get? So over here, here's our blog card. So I have to import blog card into the blog container. So go down to blog container. So just right now, inside the container element, I want to say blog card, and I'm going to import it then. And then we have the blog card there, and we have it top here. We have it imported at the top. And once you've done this, my next thing for us to do is to have blog container imported inside of the app component. So I'll come over here and say blog container. Remember, the blog container is holding the blog card, it's housing the blog card, right? So over to my browser now. What we have here, because what we have a single card. So if I go down to my blog container and I duplicate this card, this blog card, I'm gonna add 2 more of it. Ctrl V for it. Okay, let's see. And over here you can see we have 3 of these blocks, right? So that's fine. So now next thing to work on is the footer. So let's work on the footer next. Okay, so right now let's add the footer components. So I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call this footer.jxx. Then I'm going to say RAFCE as my snippets. Hit enter. Then over here, come over here. Then I'll paste in my footer component. Yeah, so once we have this now, so go down to your app components, and just under here, I'm going to say footer. So make sure you have it imported. And yes, we have this now. I think we are done with the home page. So good to know. We are done with the home page. Here's what the home page looks like. So I want to work on the. So I want to work. For example, this is a completed project. So we want to work on this. Add a new blog page. So how do we go about having multiple pages, right? So we have the home page. We also have the page here, right? So how do we go about that? So right now I'm going to show you how to configure that next. So guys, we are done with the home page. So next, right now I want to work on the on the add a new article page. So now that means our application is meant to have several pages. So I'm going to show you how to configure multiple pages on this React application, because currently we're on a single page. So now let's add more pages. Okay, so go down to the code now. So while we are still in the source folder, so in the source folder I'm going to create a new folder called pages. So I'm going to say new folder, and then I'll say pages. Hit enter. So I'm going to call the first page, I'm going to call it home page .jxx. Hit enter. So I'm going to use my snippets one more time. RAFCE. Enter. Yep. So this is what I have here. See my home page now. Right now I want to list out all the components I have here. This component is what makes up the home page, the blog heading, the Jumbotron, the blog heading, the blog container, you understand? So as for the header and footer, the header and footer is a global component, you understand? So the header and footer are going to be on every pages. So they are global components, right? So I'm not going to include them. I am not going to include the header and the footer in the home page. They are going to be a standalone components. I will get this soon. Okay, right now I'm currently in my home page. I told you before we can only have one parent in the particular component. So right now we can only have one parent, right? So I'm going to use the React fragment again. Yeah, so this is the home page, right? So next I need to have my Jumbotron inside here. The Jumbotron components first. This is the Jumbotron. Let me show you. This part of our blog is called the Jumbotron. So yeah, I'm just going to cover a Jumbotron, have it imported. Then I'm going to have next the blog heading, this session, blog heading, then the blog container, yeah, so we have this. Perfect. So once we've gotten this now, we are done with the home page for now. So next I'm going to create a new page called add blog page. .jxx. So I'm going to say RAFCE, enter. Okay guys, so right now I have the code for the add block page. So paste that here. Yeah, this is the form for the adding of blogs. So once we've gotten this, now what's the next step? So now we have our pages, the home page and the add block page. So next, now we're going to create a new folder inside of the source folder, and this folder is called the layouts. Understand? This layout is going to simply hold the head, the footer, and the navbar. Remember, I told you that the footer and navbar, these are two global components because they're going to appear on every pages, right? So I'm going to create a new folder called layouts. I'll say layouts. Yeah, and I'm going to call the file main layouts. .jxx. Yep. So on this, I'm going to say RAFCE, and then just inside here, I'm going to use my, what's it called, the React fragments. So inside, I'm going to put in the footer, the navbar and the footer. And then the footer. So now we have gotten this now. So we have our pages. We have the components. The components makes up the page. A page components makes up a page, right? So you have our pages, the components, and now the layout, right? What's the next is we need to install a new package called React Router DOM. So with this package, we'll be able to navigate from one page to another. So I'm going to simply create. Okay, now you can open a new command prompt in your VS Code and run this command npm install React Router, then done. Hit enter. So guys, we have the React Router DOM installed. So once we've gotten this now, we're going to go down to the parents component, and that is the app component, right? So we're back here again. So we're going to remove all these guys. We don't need them now. We don't need them again. Remember, these are individual components. What we are trying to render out pages now. I told you that a page is made up of some components, right? So right now I want to render out pages and not just components. Understand? So over here, I'm going to declare a variable. I'm going to say const router should be equal to, I'm going to say create browser router. And I'm going to click on this, and it's going to have it imported from React Router DOM. From here, you can see it, line 7. And then I'm going to put in my parentheses. Right now, I'm trying to navigate from one page to another. That's what I'm trying to configure. And now I'm going to say, next I'm going to say create elements, create routes from elements. So this one, click on it, and it gets imported on top. Once you've gotten that, put in my parentheses again, and then enter. And now you're going to put in the routes. The route, this is the parent route. Understand, this route is going to be pointing down to the components that holds the navbar and the footer. I'm going to say routes, and I'm going to say path should be equal to this. So this is representing all pages. The global. What was it called? It's what this represents is that it's going to simply cover all pages, right? I'm going to say elements should be equal to. I'm going to say main elements. Main layout. That's the file that contains the navbar and the footer. Main layouts, right? And then I'm going to simply close this. Then I'm going to simply just close it like this. So once this has been done, sorry, I didn't close the beginning. So now, I said it before, so we have to import routes. Just hold down Control and the full stop or the dot on your keyboard, Control and period on your keyboard. So, what is happening? Remain to install routes, import routes. So let's add routes from React Router. Enter. So right now, this route is pointing down to the navbar and the footer. Alright, now I'm going to declare other routes inside of this navbar routes. So I'm going to declare other routes. And I'm going to add the routes for the home page. I'm going to put in the routes here. And I'm going to simply say index. The index refers to the home page. Now say elements. And I'm going to point it down to the home page. Yeah, so home page. I have this imported. Okay, that's fine. And then I'm going to close it. So, sorry, made a mistake there. We close it like this. I'm going to add one more. That's for the add block page. So I'm going to call up, I want to say path should be equal to, I'm going to say add -blog. So it means so now how you visit this URL, you'll be taken down to the page where you can create new articles. I want to say elements should be equal to, and I'll say add blog page. Yeah, and then I'll close it. Yeah, so now we have the routes. Sorry, it's not router, it's routes. Yeah. So we have this. So go down to we're going to remove this, guys. Remove it. Remove this. Yeah, so we just say so right now let's add a router provider. I'm going to remove this, guys. Yeah, so let's say router provider. I'm going to say router. It should be equal to the router we declared up here. Yeah, so that's it. I will close it. Just like that. So we have this now. One last thing. I'm going to go down to my main layouts page. My main layouts here. To these components. So now we have the navbar and the footer. So what is going to appear? What is going to appear in between the navbar and the footer? That's going to be the home page, the layout, the add block page, and some other pages, right? So we call that out, and those are called outlets. I'm going to say outlets. So it's called outlets. So just click on it, and that's it. So it has been you can see it here being imported. So right now we have that. So this is perfect now. So we have the navbar. This could be the home page or whatever page, and then we have the footer. And over here we've done the routing. So if you go down to the index page, you see the home page. You go down to /add block, you see the add block page. So right now let's go down to the browser and see what we have so far. To the browser. Okay, we are on the home page. That's perfect. We are on the right place. So now, once make sure that whenever we click on this add new article, we can see we got redirected to this page, right? So I'm going to go back there. So I'll go back. Where's the navbar? The navbar. So remember the navbar. So this is a navbar, and here we start. Here is add blog, add a new. So you can see the button. This is the add a new blog button. You can see it has a tag. The href is pointing down to /add block, and that's what we have. Let me clear this, guys. Let me close them. So you can see now whenever I go down to /add block, we are being redirected to the page where we can add new blocks, right? I remember when I clicked on that, you can see the A tag is pointing down to this URL. Remember now, while we're trying to redirect, the page had to reload. We don't want that reloading, so we are going to use a React tag called link. So right now, instead of using the A tag, we are going to use a link tag. So I'm going to remove this now. I'm going to say link, L-I-N-K, so you can see it here. Click on it. Come over here again. L-I-N-K. Click, yeah. So it has been imported for us on top, right? And then we are going to simply use the toe prop, the toe attribute, and not href. We're going to say toe. So that's it. Perfect. That's it for the button. Now, right now for our logo. So let's make sure that this logo always redirects. Back to the home page. So come down here. Okay, and then here's the logo. This is the logo section over here. So we're going to change this to link. And then this to link also. So change this to toe, yeah. Yes, so let's see. The browser, click on it. And so we're able to navigate between the pages without the page reloading. Right, so that's fine. So you're able to build up the basic front end with React. So now I want to add a new page whereby if a user visits a wrong URL, let's say a user visits our blog. This is a wrong URL. If I do enter, you can see we are going to have an error message. You can see now it says 404 not found. So let's work on handling this error. Let's work on that now. So right now let's create a new page, and we're going to call this page not found, right? So whenever a user visits a wrong URL, instead of them to see this, we want to have a customized page for them to see. You get, right? So now let's go down to the code, and over here go down to the pages folder. I'm going to create a new page called not found. Let's say page not found. .jxs. Enter. Alright, so I'm going to say RAFCE, you stand, and then next I'll simply just paste the code. This is the code. Make sure you have link imported. So we have to make sure link control period. So I'm going to say imports link. Import link. Yeah, just what's happening is it's happening imported. So we have link already imported. So now you can see to the browser. So go down to your app components. So whenever a user visits a wrong path, I'm going to put it here. I'm going to say routes. That will say paths. So whenever a user visits a wrong path, we use the asterisk to represent a wrong path. So I'm going to say element should be equal to, let's say page not found, yeah. So that's the component, that's the page that you'll be redirected to. So let's see, it's the browser. So let's refresh. So right now you can see if you visit a wrong URL, you'll be brought down to this page. So page not found. So I can go back to the home page. Perfect. Yeah. So now we have our blog set up on the front end. The front end is not yet complete. Okay, guys, we have the front end up, but it's not done yet. We're not done with the front end. We still have some other pages we've not yet built. But what we have what we have is good enough for us to start working on the backend. It is good enough for us to start consuming the backend APIs. So right now, I want us to go down to the backend and start building up our APIs, and then we start consuming this API with React JS. So now that's the next step for us. Okay, so it's time for us to build up the backend. You understand? So we're almost done in the front end, but let's work on the backend right away. So on the screen here, I have a simple Django project. My Django project is called yc_blog_API, and the app is called blog app. So as for you, I want you to create your own Django project, create your app, and then you can follow along with me. So my app is called blog app. Make sure you have your app registered in your installed apps, and you can find the installed apps in the settings.py file. So far here, here's the installed apps. You can see my app called blog app. I have already registered it there. So let's continue. Okay, so right now I hope my terminal is running. Okay, let me run server. Okay, my server is currently running. So run server on your end, and let's continue. So okay, let's move on. So go down to your blog app to the models.py file. So I'm going to create a post model. You understand? From what we have here, each of these are blog posts. Each of these cards, they are blog posts, and it consists of the title, the body, and the slug. I'm going to show you what the slug looks like. So if I click on this link, we have the slug here. This is a slug. The slug is coming from the title of the blog post, right? You understand? So right now let's create our own. Okay guys, so right now let's create a post model. So our post model is going to have 3 fields. I'm going to say class posts. I'm going to say a post here, and I'm going to say models dot model. We're going to say the title field should be equal to the models as character field. So we should know this by now. Character field. We're going to say the max length should be. Let's just give it 100 characters. Understand? Max length. Oh, so let's make it 200. So for the content, for the body of the blog, we're going to call the field content. We'll say content should be equal to models dot text field. Alright, and then that's fine. The slug field now. The slug is going to be equal to models dot slug field. Yes, I'm going to say unique should be equal true. So right now, let's make sure that our slug value is coming from the title. So as I was saying, let's make sure that the slug value, the value for the slug field, is coming from our title. If we check our blog app over here, so I click on the particular blog. So right now we have Python programming for beginners, and right now the URL on top is saying blogs/Python programming for beginners. This is the slug right here, and the slug is coming from the title. It's coming from the value of our title field. So now right over here we need to customize the save methods for this post model to make sure that whenever we create a new post, we want to make sure that the title of our slug field want to make sure that the value of our slug field comes from the title field. That's it. And right now, simply post the customize save method. Yeah. So what we have here. So this code is simply doing is it is getting the value of our title field and then giving it down and then passing it as a slugified value to the slug field. You understand? If we check closely, we said that unique should be equal to true. Unique is equal to true, right? That means we cannot have 2 slugs that are the same. Every slugs are going to be unique. So over here now, the code is trying to make sure that it's trying to check if there is a slug that already exists. It's going to add this counter value to that slug to make the slug unique. So this is the customized save method to make sure our slug value comes from the title field, and also to make sure that every slugs are unique. You understand? So lastly, we need to import slugify. I want to say from Django.utils, I think, yeah, .utils.text, I think I'm correct, imports slugify. So once we've done this now, perfect now. So we need to go down to our code now. We need to install Django REST framework. So go down to your browser, come down here. I'm not making Ctrl C. Yeah, so I'm gonna say pip install Django REST framework. Enter. So right now, already have Django REST framework installed. So once you have it installed, go down to your installed apps. Don't forget, this is important. To your installed apps, and it can be found in your in the settings.py file. And yeah, we are going to add REST framework as one of the installed apps, right? I'm going to say REST underscore framework. Once this is done, I'll go down to your blog app, create a new file called serializers.py. So new file, we'll say serializers.py. So back here, we're going to simply serialize this blog model. So over here, I'm going to say from REST framework, from REST underscore framework, import serializers, import serializers. Yeah, I'm correct. I'm going to say from the current directory, from .models, import posts. And then now we're going to declare our post serializer class. It's going to say class post serializer. We're going to simply inherit from serializers.modal serializer. And over here, so we just say class meta. I'm going to say modal should be equal to posts. What's happening? And the field should be equal to, I'm going to say the ID, the title, the content, and lastly slug. What's happening? Sorry, I think I made a mistake somewhere. ID, title, content. Oh, sorry, I didn't close this guy. And the slug. Yes, once we've done this now, we're going to create a modal view set for. We're going to create a modal view set for the views. Understand? So you get now with modal view sets, we can have a single class that performs the CRUD operation, which is the create, the retrieve, the update, and the delete. So right now, let's create the views. Instead, I'll go to your blog app, open the views.py file. You're here. So we're going to say class post modal view sets. Yeah, and we're going to simply inherit from modal view sets, modal view sets. So then we're going to say serializer class. So if you don't know how modal view set works, don't worry. I have a comprehensive tutorial on Django REST framework linked. I'm going to have it linked in this video's description, where I built a full REST API for an e-commerce platform instance. So you can check it out to understand how the Django REST framework works instance. So it's not difficult. So right now I'm going to set the serializer class. I'm going to say serializer class should be equal to the post serializer. The post serializer, we have that in, where is it called? We have that in our serializers.py file. We have it here. This is the post serializer. So right now we need to import these guys, right? Let's import them. Let's import the model view set and the post serializers, and say from REST underscore framework dot view sets import model view sets, and as for the post serializer, that's from dot serializers import post serializer, right? And then post serializer, and as for our query sets, that's going to be equal to posts dot objects dot all. Right now we don't want to list out the old posts. We check our blog. We are only having the most recent. We're only having the most recent 6. That's what we have on the home page, right? The most recent 6. So right now that's what we want for now. So I'll come over here and I'll put the square brackets, or I only right now the square bracket and then 6. So we only need 6 blocks, and let's also import the post. Let's import the post model. I'm going to say from dot models import posts, and think we are good. Once we have this done, what next? We need to go create a URL for this view. I know in Django REST framework, whenever you work with modelviewsets, you always have to configure routers for modelviewsets. Alright, now I'm going to go down to the browser and check out how the Django REST framework routers work. I'm going to say Django REST framework. Django REST framework, search for it. Enter. Click on the first link. I'll pop up, don't waste my time. Come up. Okay guys, so we have the website opened. So on the top navbar, so where we are on the top navbar, click on tutorial. So you see we have view set and routers. Click on that. So we're there already. So just scroll down a bit. Understand? So it's very fine. Okay, you can say it says using routers. So what we are going to do is simple. So we're going to say from REST framework.routers import default router. Just copy this down to your code. Yeah. Okay. Before we do that, let's create a new URL.py file. I'm going to say in our blog, I'll create a new file called urls.py. urls.py, and hit enter. When that's done, I'm going to paste this. It's from REST framework.router import router, and yes, that's what we need to the browser. What else? I'm going to say router should be equal to default router, and then you can register. We'll paste this. I also pasted this just down here. Then say router.register. I'm going to put the path to, let's just say blogs. Then we're going to say views.post modal view sets. So we need to import views. I'm going to say from the current directory, from dot import views. Right, so that's fine now. Okay, once you've done this now, what else? URLs. I'm gonna come down and say URL patterns should be equal to paths, and then I'm gonna pass in an empty string there. I will say include router.urls. Yes. So right now I need to import paths and also include, and we're going to say from Django.urls imports paths and also include. Right? Include. So we've gotten that. So we're done with our URL configuration. Now we need to let the Django project know about this URL file we created. Go down to your Django project, the urls.py file. Then I'm gonna just come down here and say paths, and we'll just put an empty string there. I'm gonna say include. I'm gonna say include blog app.urls. So let's import include on top. So let's be sure this is working. Now let's make migrations. Before making migration, make sure you have your post model. Let's close this, guys. Close. Make sure you have this guy registered in your admin. That's your blog app admin.py file. I'm going to just say from, let's import the blog. I'm going to say from .models import posts. And once has been imported, I'm going to say admin .site.register. And we'll simply just say post, right? So let's make migrations. Python manage.py, make migrations. And once this is done, I'm gonna migrate and then create our super. Oh, try an error. Okay, go down to your views. Look for the problem. Our views is alright. It's working fine. Oh, this is called query sets, not query. This is called query sets. Query sets, yeah. So make migrations again. Okay, just let's migrate now. Enter. Let me make this bigger. The migration is currently going on, so let's create a super user. Create super user. I'm going to say Clint. Put in my password. Yeah. Yes. Okay, let's run server. Sorry. Okay, let's run server. Run server. We're going to run on port 8008 because currently port 8000 is being used. So we are going to run a different port number. Yeah, so after we've done this over here, say 127. Hit enter. Okay, these are our API routes. So if I click on this, currently our blog list is empty. So we need to go down to the admin and create some blogs, right? So 127/808 admin. Hit enter. So I'm gonna log in now. Let's log in. So as for you guys, go down to your Django admin and create some contents and create some blogs instead. So I'm gonna pause the video and create some blog articles. Okay guys, so I just realized something. I was trying to add my own blog articles in the admin, so I saw this. So you need to go down to your models and make sure the slug is understand. So go down to the Django admin, to your models, come over here, just set null equal true, and blank equal true. So just do this and make migrations. Sorry for skipping that the first time. So let's make migrations. Let's migrate. And let's run server. Let's run server. Enter. Okay, so now go back to my page now. Let's try saving. I'm going to refresh the page, I think so. Sorry, I should have been on port 8008. For me, I don't know about for you. You can stick with port 8000, but for me, I have a different project on port 8000. Understand? So this is on port 8000. You get so. Okay. So paste. This is JavaScript full course, and then save. Done. Oh, there's a mistake here. Our string function, say div. Now put the self here. Return self.title. Let's wait for a server. Refresh. Okay, perfect. So just go on and add more blog posts, and then we'll continue from there. Okay guys, I already have my blogs created. I have about 6 blog posts created. So once we've done this now, if you go down to the modal list, you know it was once empty. I'm going to refresh the page now. And wow, I can see now we have a list. We have our list of blogs here. So for you to access a specific blog, you have to go down and use the ID. I'm going to say blog / the ID. So for the first blog, I'm going to put in the ID of 1. Hit enter. Something happened. Says not found. No, I know what the problem is. Go down to our code this query set is meant to list out all the blogs. We're not meant to limit the query sets. So just come here, remove that. We go back to the page now. If you refresh now, as is for it, you can see now we have been able to get a specific blog, right? Instead, we've been able to get a specific blog. So one thing is this now. Remember from what I showed you here, we are accessing each blogs by their slug. You can see it's blog / the slug instead, so it's not by the ID. So how do we make, for example, now how do we access each blogs by their slug and not ID? Because with the slug is much more SEO optimized than using the ID. So here's how we do it. Go down to your code now. In your post model view set, you're going to set the lookup field. It's called lookup underscore field. We're going to set it to slug, right? So now to the browser. If you refresh now, you can see it says no post matches the given query. So go back to the most. So right now I'm going to copy the slug. You can see the slug is from the title. The slug value is the same as the title, but the slug here is slugified. That's why it's like this. Copy this, paste it here, and hit enter. You can see right now we are on the detail page of a specific blog post. Yeah. So we've gotten this now. So one thing is left now. So from what we have here, the query set here is going to list out all the blogs. Let's assume we have up to 100 blog posts in our database. Because of this query set, we are going to be listing out every blogs in the database. And if we check from what we have here, on the home page of what we've built, we are only listing out we are only listing out the 6 most recent blogs. We are listing out only 6 most recent blogs. You understand? But from what we have here, we are listing out all the blogs in the database. So how do we prevent this? So we are going to create a separate endpoint. I'm going to call this recent. I'm going to say we are going to create an action. We're going to say action. We're going to say detail should be equal to false, and method should be equal to the gets method. It should be a string. Yes, so we're going to declare the function. We're going to say def. We're going to say recent. I'm going to say self and request. Right now, I'm going to say blogs. I'm going to say blogs. I'm going to say post rather. Post is the right. Post should be equal to post.objects.all. And then I'm going to simply pick out just 6. So our aim is to pick out the most recent 6, right? The latest 6 articles that were created. So I'm going to say serializer. Serializer should be equal to post serializer, and I'll pass in the posts, and I'll set many equal true. And right now I have to return a response. Return response. I'll say serializer dot data. So you have to import action and response. So up here, let's say from REST underscore framework dot decorators import action. We're going to then say from REST underscore framework dot response import response. Right, so we've gotten that. So now this is our action now. So here's how so we'll see if we go down to this endpoint recent, we are going to fetch only the 6 most recent blogs. You understand? But currently something is wrong somewhere. In our models.py file, I did not set the created field, the field that records the time our blog was created. I forgot to set that. So right now I'm going to set that field. I'm going to say created should be equal to models dot datetime field. Sorry for this datetime field, and I'm going to say also now should be equal to true. And I'll set null equal to true and blank equal to true. That's because we are doing this after. That's because I'm doing this after I've already created some posts in our database. That's why I have to set null and blank to true. So after I've done this, let's make migrations. Make migrations. Enter. So let's migrate. Okay. Let's run server. Now we're running on here. Enter. So sorry for this mistake. So I recommend you do this at the beginning. You understand? Not now. You get. So we've done this now. So with what we've done here. So with what we've done here now, by default our blogs are being listed out based on the one that was created first. Understand? This is right now. We have this created first, and this one follows. So our blogs are being listed out based on the first created article. Is first come first out. You understand? So we want to make sure that the last blogs. We want to make the last blog be the first. Understand? We want to change the ordering. So I'll come over here. Now say class meta. Now then I'll say ordering should be equal to this, and I'm going to set it. I'm going to negate this. That's the opposite because by default. So now with this now, it's going to simply make sure that the last block comes first and the first block comes last. Yes, now if you go down to the browser, right now we're having number 1, 2. So if I refresh now, oh sorry, it didn't change because all these blocks, their created value are all null. That's because we already created the blog post before adding this field. You understand? This field came last. It came after we have created the blogs. You understand? So this field is null at the moment. You get. So if you go down to each of them. Okay, it's not showing here, but currently they are null. That's because we added the field after we've created each of those blog posts. So sorry for that. Okay, that's it. But with this now, we are going to have. So right now, if you create a new blog now, that new blog is going to come first. It's going to come first on this list. You understand? So that's that now. So I think we are done with the backend. We are done building the backend. Our backend is set. So I'm going to list out our endpoints. So let me list out the endpoints right here. So I'll say get recent blogs. Get recent blogs should be equal. So to get our recent blogs, we are going to go down to http 127.0.0.1, then port 8008/blogs/recent, right? This for the recent blog. So now to get a specific blog, we're going to say specific blog. I'm going to say http 127.0.0.1 port 8008/blogs/the slug. Right, so with this now I can get a specific blog. This specific blog now with this endpoint, we can get a single blog. We can also update the blog and delete the blog. So these are the endpoints we'll be working with on the front end. Understand? So at the moment now we've gotten this. So the next thing we want to work on now, let's go and complete our front end. There are some pages we've not created. We've not yet done the detail page. this page you have here, we've not also done this pop-up, so we are going to work on this on the front end. Okay guys, so I think we are done writing the APIs for the backend. We are done with that, but something is left. You're not done with the front end yet. On the front end, you only have 2 pages. We've only made 2 pages: the home page and the add blog page. Instead, we still have the page. We still have the detail page still undone. This is what it looks like if you click on this. This detail page. We've not done those yet. We've also not done the editing page, and lastly, we've not done this pop-up instance. So we are going to do that quickly, and once we are done with this front end, we are going to start integrating the front end and the back end instance. So right now, let's quickly work on the detail page of our blog app. So currently, this is the back end. So here's the front end we're working on. So I'm going to create a new page. Let me make this a bit. You're going to create a new page right now. So go down to your pages folder. Remember, it's inside of your source folder, the pages folder. Create a new page. I'm going to call this detail page. Detail page .jx. Yeah, jxx. Then let me close those guys to avoid us getting. We are going to say RAFCE to create our components quickly. So I'm going to paste in the code for the detail page right now. So I have the code already copied. I'll just replace what we have here. I'll paste it in. So we've got our detail page. What's this? Okay. So we've gotten the detail page done already. So we are going to go down to our app components. And then we need to set the routes. We'll just come over here. Now say routes. I will say the path should be, let's just say blogs /slug. For now, this is a static path for now. This path is currently static for now. But as we proceed, I'm going to show you how to make this path dynamic. Understand? So for now, it is static. So I'm going to say element should be equal to detail page. Okay, detail page. Yeah. This, and then we're going to close it. So we need to go down to, so we have the route already. So we need to go down to the home. Yeah, is it to the, what was it called? To the blog card components, where you have the read more. Where are you? This is the read more. Yeah, this is the link to the read more. And then React, instead of using the A tag, we are going to use the link tag link. I'm going to set this href to to, and then we're going to set it to /blogs/slug. So currently this is static, as I said before. As we proceed, I'm going to show you how to make it dynamic. So I'm going to also make this link, right? Yeah, so let's see. You're going to have to import this. Also down, hold down control and then period on your keyboard. Control and dots or period. It's down. It's, oh, I'm going to import it. So what's wrong? Oh, it's not showing me any important sign. Just go. I'll just say import. I just say link. So click on this. So this has been imported. That's fine. So the browser. Okay. So the browser. So if I click on this read more. And so now we've been brought down to the detail page, right? Yeah, but it's not dynamic. Instead, so come back here, click. So you have our detail page done. So yeah, It's done. This is still static. But let's proceed. So something is left now. We want to work on these buttons. Something like this. These buttons. So let's work on that. Currently it's not looking good here. And also we have an icon that goes back. So let's work on that quickly. I don't know exactly where we are. So here is there's our detail page. Trying to make, okay, here's our detail page here. Yes. So here is the icon. I'm going to simply uncomment that. FAG pen to square. So we're going to get this icon. And also here's our delete icon. I'm going to simply, delete icon. Perfect, right? So what I'm going to do now is this. So now we need to install a package called React Icons. And I'm going to say, okay, where are you? Come on. Let's see for it to pop up. Okay. I'm going to say npm install React-icons. Enter. So it is installing. Let's wait for it. So while it is installing now, so you go down to your browser and search for React Icons. React Icons. Okay, the first link. The first link. Yes. Click on it. So this website, you can search for whatever icon you want to search for. So I'm going to just search for the pen, the edit pen, search for it. So you have several suggestions. So you can pick whichever one you want to pick. Just click on it. Once you click on it, here is the component, here is the icon itself, and this is the import statement. Understand? That's it from React icon. This is the icon itself, and here's the import statement. That's what we have over here. So from what we were doing here, so here's my delete icon. Here is my pen icon. Understand? So I think currently we already have React icons installed. Since we have it installed, I'll just hold down Control and then period or dots on your keyboard, and I'm going to simply, ouch, I was trying to import this, but it's not working. So I'm going to say import. Let's say imports FA. Let's call the nose name again. Show yourself. Yeah, FA reg Ctrl C. Just say import FA, paste it. I need a suggestion. FA square. Okay, yes. The second one, FA square. It's that. Yeah, it has been imported. Right? So what does it want to import? Let's say we want to import the delete button. MD delete, so Ctrl C. Just simply say imports, paste it. Let's say delete. Yeah, click on the first one. Yeah, imported. And the last one is this back button. I'll simply uncomment it. Let's try the control and period one more time. Oh, it isn't working. So just copy this, Ctrl C, up again. I'll say imports. Let me just paste it. Let me just say BACK. Oh, one suggestion was wrong. Okay, BACK, this second one, yeah. So that's it. Perfect. To the browser. There's our page now. It says it's trying to reload. Let's wait for it. You can see perfect. We have all the icons. Currently the icons are quite dummy. They are not doing anything yet, but we have it working. That's fine. So we have our home page, the add blog page, and also the detail page. That's fine. So what next? Let's work on the edit page. On this edit page, right? Okay, right now we're about to start working on it on the updates blog page. But currently, you can see on the slug page, our detail page is not dynamic this time, because up here, I'm meant to have the slug for each of the blogs. But currently, we have a static value called slug there. That's fine. So when we start consuming the API, I'm going to show you how to make the page and the URL up here dynamic. But at the moment, we are not there yet. Okay, on the home page, so once work on the detail page. The detail page is also meant, so once work on the edit blog page. The edit blog page is also meant to be dynamic, understand? So whereby something like this, for each blog I click on, I have the edit form for that blog alone. If I go back here, if I click on this, I have that for that specific blog alone, right? And you can see right now. Once you just work on rendering out the templates, that's just it. So once we get to the part of consuming APIs, I'm going to show you how to make these pages dynamic. So let's go create the page. Go down to your pages folder. I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it edit blog page, and they're going to say JXX, and hit enter. And you're going to say RAFCE, as we've named before, and hit enter. And once we've done this, so we're going to so if we check closely, the add blog page and edit blog page are similar. So we're just going to copy what we have here. Copy this guy. Control C, copy. So edit blog page, and then replace what we have here. And here, and up here, instead of saying add a new blog, I'm going to just say edit blog. And then down here, I'm going to say edit. This is a button. This is a submit button. I'm going to just simply say edit blog here also. And yes, I also done this. Now what next? So back to our app. Let's go to the app.jxs. I'm gonna add a new route. Let's say this routes. Okay, I'm gonna say blogs /edits/slug. So currently this slug is meant to be dynamic. The slug is meant to be dynamic, but currently it is not. When we get there, I'm going to show you how to make it dynamic. So I'm going to say elements should be equal to, let's say, edit blog. It's not suggesting this for me. What was wrong? And then, yeah, so we have this. So now, edit blog page was okay. Up here, let's go and import it. So say import edit blog page. Hit enter, and yes, we've gotten that. So what next? So right now, go down to your. So for us to be able to move down to that page, we're meant to click on this button. And this button is found on the detail page. So go down to the button, go down to your detail page, which you have here, and where this is the pen icon, the pen button. This is it here. So I'm going to use a link now, a link tag, and then the toe prop, yeah, the toe, yeah. And they're going to just say blogs /edit/slug. So currently the slug is meant to be dynamic, but it is not. When we get there, I'll show you. So just put the link, sync. You have to import link on top. You'll say, okay, you can import link. You'll say imports link. Okay, click on this. Just yeah. So I think we are good. To the browser. If you click on this right now, click on it. So we are currently on the edit blog page, right? Yeah. So we've gotten that. So what next? So what is left for us is to work on. Want to work on this pop-up on this modal. So if you click on delete, this let's work on this modal that appears. Let's work on that. So it's not add. So over here. So right guys, so right now let's add up let's create this modal. We're gonna do it quickly. So the modal, I want to add the modal over here, whereby if you click on the setting, and click on this delete button, the modal pops up, right? So back here to the code. So our code now, I'll go down to the component folder. I'm going to create a new file, and I'll call it modal.jxx and hit enter. Once we've done that, now I'm going to say RAFCE as we've been doing before. Then I'm going to paste the code for the modal. I already have it copied. Okay. So don't worry, guys. I'm going to give you the source code, the front end source code clean, the front end source code that only contains the React part, so you guys can follow along with this tutorial. I'll give you this front end code, the back end, and also the code where we start integrating React and Django. I'll share the three source code with you guys. So we have this now. So I need to go and get the styles for this. Understand? This is here, but it has a style. It has a style sheet it depends on. Okay, now so right now I've got my styles already, but currently you can see we have these red lines. It's trying to tell us something. It's saying stroke hyphen line cap. You know, in React is JavaScript. You know, stroke minus. This is React sees this as a minus sign. Understand? So how do we avoid this? So with this now, we are gonna use the camel case instead of having the minus. We just close that and use the camel case. I'm gonna just close that, use the capital W. Yeah, same up here. So you get the same thing as here. You get that's how to fix that, because in React the hyphen is seen as a minus. So we then use the camel case to avoid that. Okay, now so I think I've gotten my styles. I'm going to create a new component now. I'm going to call it modal.css. So I'm going to paste in my styles in here. So here are the styles for the modal. So I go down to my modal. Go down to the modal components. And once you're there, we're going to simply import the styles, right? I'll just come over here and say imports. Remember, they're in the same folder. I'm going to say imports. From the current folder, modal.css. It's meant to suggest this for me, but it's not. Okay, I hope it works. Modal.css. Okay, we've done that. So after doing this, we need to go and append this modal component to the detail page components, right? Yeah, this component here, detail page. You can check from what we have here. We only have the modal on this page. If you click on this, the modal pops up, right? So let's go and do that right now. So our code, this is our detail page. It's currently opened. So I'm going to append the modal just here. And let's see modal. Wondering why is it not suggesting this for me again? Ouch. I'm going to say imports modal. You should click the first one. So now let's see what it looks like to the browser. And so now we have the modal popping up there, showing there. Sorry, no, that's not that is the one from the preview from the one I already built before. So come over here. Yeah, so you can see we have the modal there. It is covering everywhere. We can't click off because we are just displaying it. So for now, I'm going to simply go down to the CSS and set it to display none. Display none. So when we need it, I'm going to make it display, but for now it's going to be display none. For now, display none, and then that should be fine to the browser. Modal is gone. So right now we are done with the front end. We are done with the back end. So what's left is for us to integrate these two components. It's for us to integrate the front end. Okay, so we are done with the front end. We're done with the back end. So it's time for us to integrate these two together. Here's our front end built with React and Tailwind. Right, so here's the backend. This is our blog API. So it's time for us to make these two components interact. We want to make them communicate with each other. So without further ado, we are getting started with that right now. So go down to your browser and search for Django course headers. Django course headers. So with this technology, we'll be able to make our Django app communicate with a JavaScript framework or library like React JS. So we are here now. So just scroll down, click on this link, Mastering Course in Django. So open this now on a new tab. So you can open the first one if you want to, but I prefer this link. I'm going to link it down in this video description. Because this website explains how course works. And so, all right now, over here it says that course stands for cross-origin resource sharing. You understand? Cross-origin resource sharing. That's what course stands for. And right now it says that course is a mechanism to allow interaction with resources hosted on different domains. You get? So it's just basically our React app is on a different domain, on a different local host. Our API is also on a different local host. If you are meant to deploy this application, we are going to deploy them separately. This will show you that these two components, these two applications, the front end and the back end, are two separate entities. And through this course, we are going to be able to link them together so they can communicate and interact with each other. So that's that. So now let's get course configured. So scroll down. So I'm going to use this command now to make sure we have course installed. Ctrl C. I'm going to copy that there. So it's called Django course headers. I've copied it down to my code. This is my front end. Go down to the back end. Over here, I'm going to open a new tab, a new terminal to have it installed. Oh, don't waste my time. Pop up sync. Okay. Let's just for it. I don't know why it's taking time. Come up, bro. Okay, it's up. Just paste that there. Enter. So we are going to have Django course headers installed. So while it's installing now, let's go follow the other instructions. You need to add course headers to our installed apps. Copy this and then over to the installed apps over here. We're going to add course headers. Yeah, we've gotten that. So what's left? So your middleware, you need to copy this middleware and make sure it appears directly above the common middleware. So back to our code. Where's our middleware section? This is the common middleware. So we're going to paste the course headers middleware just above the common middleware. So we have that there. So next, just scroll down. So I recommend you read this article, read it extensively. You're going to understand how this course stuff works again. So now it's for us to set the allowed origin. So we want to now configure the list of front end applications that can interact with our backend. So we want to list out a list of domains that can interact with the backend, right? So right now I'm going to copy this, Ctrl C, down to my code now. And make this text, make the font smaller here, better, it's clearer now. So paste it. So the list of origins you want to permit, so I think it's too small. The font size looks too small. Okay, let's manage this. The list of origin we want to allow from here. Currently on localhost 5173. That's our React. Those are React's host 5173, 5174. So currently this current one we are on is 5173. So we need to add it here. Localhost 5173. Right. So come over here. It's HTTP. Currently we are still on development environment, so it is HTTP localhost, right? Localhost, then 5173. Let's be sure. Yep, so we got that. So I'm not making any mistake here. So I'm going to remove this, guys. Remove this ones. I'm going to add. Why is there a line? Okay, I shall add the string. Yeah. So I need to add one. I'm going to add one more for HTTP localhost 5174. So once we've gotten this now, I think we are good to go. Go back here. Scroll down a bit. Okay, I think that's all we need to add. So I think we are done now. So right now we're going to go down to our React app and see if our application is able to communicate with our REST API. So we are doing that next. So right now, let's go down to our React app, and now we want to fetch our products from the backend down to the front end. So over here now, so now we have some components. So okay, so right here, I want to fetch our React. We want to fetch the blog on the home page in this region, right? So remember this is the blog card component, and the blog card component is being held by the blog container. In instance, from what we have, let me show you again. These are a list of components. We have the where's the blog card? Okay, where are you? Okay, I think I'm missing something. Okay, here is the blog card component. Here is the blog container. If you check closely, this is the blog container. The blog container is holding the blog cards. You can see we have 3 blog cards, and on the screen here we also have 3. So right now I want to fetch the products on this blog container, which is the parent of the blog card, and from there I'll pass the blocks down to these children. So I'm going to show you how it is being done. So in React now, whenever a page appears on the screen, we call it rendering. Currently, we have the page being rendered for us. We want to fetch the products whenever the page renders. We want to fetch the blogs whenever the page renders, right? So now to go about that, so in React now we have a hook. There is a hook. We also call it hook. It is called the use effect. The use effect hook. So this hook works. It works in such a way that whenever our page renders, it runs a function. So right now, I want to make sure that whenever the page renders, we want to run a function to fetch the blocks from the backend. So now let's do that. So up here, we're going to call the use effects hook. We're going to say use effects. Right. So I'm going to hit enter to import it on top. So it has been imported. So we have these effects imported on top now. So we are going to then declare an arrow function, right? Yeah. So right now we want to fetch. We want to fetch from the block from our backend. So we are going to use a technology called Ashes. Instead, I'm going to use a technology called Ashes. I'm going to say. Then we're going to say npm install. We have to install it first. Npm install. Then we say Ashes. Hit enter. So we have Ashes installed. We're going to simply fetch this blog posts. So right now Ashes is being installed. So we have it installed already. So we'll come down here and we'll say Ashes dot get. So right now I want to get our most recent blogs, right? These 6 most recent blogs. Go down to the backend code. There's a place I wrote down the endpoints. It should be, here's the backend. It should be the urls.py file, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, sorry. Okay, you can see these are the endpoints now. So right now, I want to fetch the list of products. There's the list of blogs. Sorry for calling it products. It's actually blog posts, right? So remember, we are currently on port 8008. Make sure you're on the right ports. If you're on port 8000, make sure the port number here is 8000 for your Django application. So currently, I am on port 8008, 8008. So I'm going to copy this endpoint. Control C. Going down to the to our React app, I'm going to paste it here. So I need to import Ashes. I'm going to say control and dots. So let's import Ashes. I'm going to say import Ashes. It's enter. So we've imported Ashes. So now once we've done this Ashes.get, we are going to check out for a promise, because this is an asynchronous task. It's not going to take place immediately. So we're going to call a promise. I'm going to say dot then. We're going to set the response. So right now, this is the response you are expecting, and then we're going to say console.log response.data. So right now, let's just print out the response alone. This is the response we are expecting this response. So I just printed it out. Right now, I'm trying to print it out on the browser's console. So if there is a problem, I'm going to catch the problem here. I'm going to say catch, I'm going to say error, and then I'm going to simply console out the error message. I'm going to say error.message. Okay. So right now, we've done this now. So if I go down to my backend, let's see if the backend is currently running. Upon the terminal, let's say. Or simply need to run server, or server is down here. Python -spy. Run server. Make sure you're on the right port number. 8008. It's enter. Make sure you're on the right. Currently, you can see I'm also on 8008. So right now, I'm sending a GET request to fetch our blogs. Okay, now to the browser, I'm going to refresh this page. I'll go down to my browser's console by pressing F12 and then clicking on console. So right now you can see what we're getting on the browser. We are getting some things are being printed out for us. So let me make this big. So right now I can see what we are printing here. This is the response I console to the browser. This is the response. So if you open it, you can see we have this data. This data holds the blog posts. When I open it, you can see these are the list of blog posts we have. You can see them, right? So I'm going to go down to my code now and simply say const.log rex.data. So give me only the blog posts. I wouldn't have to see all this other information that are so bulky. So I'll refresh the page now. So when the page renders, it gives us something. Because right now we have our list of blogs. And React always consoles twice. You can see we have two arrays there. So we have an array of our blog of our blogs. We have them here. So right now we want to simply render these blogs on the front end. How do we go about it? If you check the backend, this is our backend. Okay. Okay, so right now to the browser. Okay, this use effects hook always expects a dependency. If you don't add a dependency array to it, it's gonna keep calling these endpoints repeatedly, and we don't want that. So I want to simply restrict it to just once. So we're gonna just say call these endpoints once. Call this API once. We're gonna just put an empty array there, and to call it only once. So now we have been able to get our blocks from the back end. So what is left now? So I want to render these blocks on the front end. How do we go about it? So right now we are going to create a variable called blogs, and this variable is going to be a list. It's going to be an array. So let me show you. So now I'm going to say const. This is how we declare variable in JavaScript. We use the const or let keyword. I'm going to say const, and I'll say blogs. Then I'm going to call the next word. I'm going to say set blogs next. So this blogs here is the actual variable, and this set blogs you see here is a function or a method that helps to change the value of the actual variable. So by default, the actual variable is going to have an empty array. So this is how we declare variables in JavaScript. We use the useState keyword, the useState. So then we are going to give this blog a default value, which is an empty array. So the blogs here is a variable, and its value is an empty array, right? So this empty array now wants to give these blogs the response we are fetching. Wants to give these blogs the list of blogs we are fetching from the backend. Want to pass those values to these blogs, right? And we can only do that by using this other method here called set blogs. With this other method, we are able to update the value of blogs, right? So right now, come here and I'll simply add a block by putting a curly braces, and then just say enter. So right now, I'm going to say set blogs to response or data. So right now, our blogs this is our blog variable. Is now simply pointing down. Let me just render. Okay, now it's simply like pointing down to these arrays of blogs. So now we've gotten our blog. Okay guys, so right now we've been able to fetch the blogs from the backend, and we've been able to assign the response to this variable called blogs, right? So this is how our blogs value is now. It is a list of objects, a list of blogs objects from the backend. So right now I'm going to simply loop through these blogs. I'm going to loop through it to create our list of blog cards. So right now I only need one blog card, just like in Django we use the for loop to loop through items. We only need one of the blog card. And right now to call JavaScript, to write JavaScript in this HTML, you're going to use curly braces. You know, in Django we use double curly braces, but over here you're going to use a single curly braces. I'm going to say blogs.map. In React here we use the map. In Django we use the for blog in blogs, but here we use the map method. I'm going to say blog.map. So this map is going to give us a new array of those blogs. So this map method is going to give us a list of these blog cards, a list of the blog cards. So let's look at it here. I'm going to say blogs.map, and then I'm going to pass the individual blog, right? So let me just place inside. I'm going to say put in the individual blog. That's what we do in Django for blog in blogs. So I'm putting the individual blog. This is the individual blog here. So then after that is done, I'll come over here and declare a function, an arrow function, and then I'll pass this guy there, this blog card inside here. Okay, what is happening? Okay, now so we need to pass a key prop here. We call it prop. So this key prop helps to make each of this blog card unique. So I'm going to say key should be equal to blog.id. So we've done that now. So we have added the key prop. So now this blog now is having something that's separated from each other. You know, every blog has an ID, a unique ID. So this blog card now has a unique value that helps to separate it from each other, from one another. Understand? So now this is how we do it here. We actually loop through the blogs. So we pass the individual blog, and then we pass the child. This is the child of the blog card, is the child of the blog container. Understand? So we are trying to duplicate, we are trying to create multiple instances of this child. That's how we have to loop through it now. So if I go down to my browser, you see that we are going to have 6 cards on the browser. 6 cards. So you can see over here we have 6 cards. This is coming from our backend, because right now in our backend we have 6 blog items, right? So we have 6 there. Instead, so we've done that. After doing that now, so if you get close, we want to be able to pass in the blog title and the blog body. So how do we go about that? Okay, over here, come over here, and then I need to pass this blog as a prop. We need to pass this blog also as a prop to this blog card. Understand? So we pass prop from parent to child. This blog container component is the parent element. So the parent element always pass data from itself down to the child component. So I want to pass this blog now as a prop to this blog card component. This blog card is the child component of this blog container. So I'm going to pass this blog. This is how we do it here. I'm going to say blog. This is the key value equal to the actual value blog. So we've gotten this. So this has been done. We are going to go down to our blog card now to get this blog. Go down to your blog card component. So come over here. We're going to get it over here. We're going to just put in an object there and say blog. So we just received this blog card, this blog that was passed from the blog container to the blog card. We just received it in the blog card itself over here, right? All right, now come over here now, put in blog.title, blog.title, and then let's see what it looks like. Try an error. It says blog is undefined. So right now, this is what we are faced with now. Facing an error, it says that blog is undefined. Okay, let's see what the problem is. So we pass to our blog.title. So most times, this stuff, this is asynchronous. It might not get the value of this data as quickly as possible. It might take some time. So why it's taking some time, our blog might have been rendered, so I might still be trying to fetch this data. So we are going to put an optional tag, which is a question mark, appended there. So this question mark means that, okay, this might be this might be optional at the moment. This might not be available at the moment. You understand? This blog then the question mark dots. Someone tells us that, okay, at the moment we might not have this title. We might not have. So it's going to say that if the title is not available, there is no problem. How I was trying to say. So I'm going to add the question mark there. So now I've done. Now go down to the page now. I think we should refresh it. So right now you can see now we have our different titles on top. Oh, this is the dummy data. We're going to remove this guy. Go down to your blog list, blog container, and then remove this one. We don't need it there. So back to the blog card. So I'm going to add the blog.contents. Okay, yeah, I'm going to say blog.contents. And let's see. Oh, we can see our blog.content now. We can see it fetching out the old body. Right now, I want to only just pick up the first 150 characters. So let's do that right now. Okay, guys. Right now, our blog is being fetched. We have the title and the body, but right now the body is just too long. We want to just show the first 150 characters. Okay, go down to the code now, and over here, yes, I'm going to declare a variable. Now I'm going to say let's contents equal to. I'm going to say blog.contents. That is the key. That is the field name for the blog body. You can check the backend to confirm. Once you can see is title, content, right? Then slug. So we're using the contents. So we'll say blog.contents dot substring 0 to 150, right? I wonder why this. Oh, we'll fix this thread line to fix it. We'll say blog.content and substring. So right now, what I want to do, I want to simply add. I could just say plus dot. Add this as a string. Okay. Once we've done this, I'll come down to my body and I'll simply just put in contents here instead of saying log.contents. Right, so I think that's fine. To the browser, right now you can see now we've been able to fetch the first 150 words of each blog. So let's make it 250. See how it's going to look like. The first 150 character, let's make it 250. Okay, I think it's better. Let's add some space. Let's make it small. Okay, right now we're able to fetch the blog. So now, what's next? So right now, after fetching the blog, I want to add the loading states. For example, while the blog is fetching, I tell you that sometimes it will take time. If you're on a live server, it will take some time for this blog to fetch. So you need to show up a loader that tells the user that, okay, the blog is currently fetching. Just wait for it. I want to add a spinner that spins before the blog gets presented. Okay, so right now let's add a spinner that displays that tells the user that the site is loading to fetch the blog. So let's add this loader. Go down to your code now. We're going to add a new variable down to the blog container, the parent container, which is blog container instance. So I'm going to call this because I'm going to say const. I'm going to say loading. Now say set loading. Remember, loading is the actual variable. Why set loading is a function that helps to update the actual variable. When we say set loading, I'm going to give it a default value of true. So loading will be set to true by default. So if it is true, that means we are going to see the spinner on the screen, right? So this is it. So once we've done this, then so now over here, want to set loading. If loading is true, we are going to see the spinner on the screen loading. But if it is false, the spinner won't display. So right now, whenever we fetch our data, whenever data is being fetched, we want to simply set loading to false. You then come here and say set loading, and we'll say false. So we've done this now. So what next? So now we are going to say what next. So let's work on the next stuff. So we're going to create a new component. Now I'm going to call it spinner or loading. Let me just call it spinner because we're going to use a spinner. I'm going to call this spinner.jsx. Enter. So okay, call it spinner, right? Yeah, use spinner. Okay, we have the spinner now. So I'm going to say RAFCE. I'm going to your browser and search for React spinners. I'm going to say React spinners. So right now, click on the first link. Yeah, open the first link. So let me close this, guys. I'm doing them for now. So the first link is open up. We need to install React spinners as a library, it's a dependency. So you can see the command here on the top right. Copy this to your projects. You have to just come down here. Let me open a new command prompt. Paste it, enter. Once that has been installed, go back to the code again. Once that is, we are going to leave that to run. So scroll down rather. So here is the. So right now, we are going to go down to the spinner component. I need to do some importing. So let's get this guy first. This clip loader. I'm going to copy it, go down to your code. So I'm going to paste it here. This is a loader. That's just like a spinner. You know what a spinner is now. Paste it, it keeps loading. So we have our spinner here. Okay, so once we've gotten that, what next? So go down to browser. I'm going to simply copy this. This is a styling for the spinner. Copy it. I'll paste it on top here. So we need to import CSS properties. We need to import it. Go down Ctrl and period on your keyboard. It's not important. It's fine. We just copy this. Also import it from React, right? Okay, just put in there. Paste it here. So right now we just imported CSS properties. What's happening? So right now I can't see why this is showing us this red line on that. I can't really pinpoint it. CSS properties. It's not meant to show that, but it's fine. So let's proceed. Okay, now what next? We need to also import clip loader from React snippets clip loader. So I'm going to import this. I'm surprised this is not. Okay, we've imported clip loader. We've imported it. We have imported it already. So I think we are good to go. So this loading is meant to come from the parent element. Okay, guys. So right now, okay, I just overround it now, and it says type annotations can only be used in TypeScript files. Oh, that's true. I was used to writing in TypeScript now, but currently I have to change in JavaScript because it is more easier to do. Okay, now, so I'm going to remove this. We don't need this. We don't need it there. I thank God I saw that message. So we need to also remove this import. Don't need it too. So if you've done our importing for the clip loader, that's perfect. So this is the spinner. So I'm going to show you how to activate it. So this loading is meant to come from the parents container. The parent is this block container. You know, already have loading set here. So I need to pass this loading. I need to pass this loading to the child. So this is trying to pass the loading to the child. So this loading here. So right now I'm going to call this spinner up here. It's going to be inside of this parent container. I'm going to call it spinner. Spinner, right? I'll explain it to suggest this for me, but it's fine. So we have spinner. Let's import spinner. So I'm going to import spinner. Okay. So now I need to pass this loading variable. Remember, by default it is true. And after our data has come, we set it down to false. Right? So I'm going to pass this. I want to pass this loading as a prop to spinner. So I'll come over here and say loading. And I'll say loading now. So here is it passed as a prop. So this is the key. This is the actual value, right? So we're going to get the value to the key. So I'll go down to my spinner components, and over here I'm going to get it here. I'm going to get it from the parent container on top, and then I can use it here. So we have loading over here. That's perfect. So one thing is left that is not yet done. If you go down to the one thing is left that is not done. So I go down to the page now. Where are you? It says color is not defined. That's true. Color is not defined. So I'm going to remove this color. Color is not defined. Remove it. So I'm going to increase the size of our. I'm going to set it to 250. I want the color to be purple. But that color should be purple. Purple, right? So now let's save. I think I've made the changes. So I can see we have a spinner there. Because you have a spinner, you can see it spins first. So we've gotten that there. So saying that is that. So what's now a spinner you get? So okay. So here's how the spinner works. And remember, once the spinner is true, it's going to display on the screen. It's going to keep loading. Once the data is being fetched, the spinner turns to false and disappears. That is how it works. If I refresh this, if I go down to the add block page and I come back home, because you see the spinner is very fast, right? So that's because you are on local. That's because you are seen in a local development. So once you switch to the production, you will see that the spinner will take more time in loading before the blocks get fetched. So we are done with the home page now. So let's work on the detail page right now. Okay guys, right now it's time to work on the detail page, right? So whereby we are going to have that, whereby for each of the blog posts you can click on the read more button to read about the blog. Currently the URL, what we have here is kind of static. So we want to make sure that whenever we click on a particular blog post, we get directed to the actual blog post, because this what we have here is static, because this is the same for every blog card we have on the home page. So now let's fix this. So we are going to go down to where we configured our router, and that is in the app components. Yeah, app.jxs. Right, so you can say this is the route that points down to the blog detail page. Right now I want to tell this route that this slug is going to be dynamic. So I need to just put in a colon here. Put in the colon, and with this colon there, it simply tells this route that slug is a dynamic value, right? So we've done that. Now we are going to go down to, where is it again? So the blog card. Remember, the blog card is what is holding this button, right? Go down to the blog card, and up here, where's the blog card? This is the read more, right? So over here we're going to do something different. So I'll remove this. Yep, so I'll put in the curly braces because we are about to write some JavaScript in there. I'm going to use the template literals. The template literals is the same thing as the formatted strings in Python, right? So because I want to pass a string and a variable. So in instance, I'm going to use the template literals. So now I'm going to say blogs / then I want to pass in an actual value. I'm going to pass in a $sign. and then $, not yeah, and then curly braces. I'm going to then say this blog then dot slug, blog.slug, right? So now, yeah, so I'm going to go down to blogs slash the blog.slug. Remember, this is now dynamic for each blogs. Go to your page now. Okay, if I go back, okay, let's see. Click on read more. Right now you can see we have blogs slash Python focus. Go back to the home page, you click on Java. Right, so we have blog slash Java focus. So what is left now is for us to fetch the actual blog. Remember, this part is still dummy. So let's fetch the actual blog. Right now I'm going to go down to the detail page now, and let's do the fetching. Go down to your detail page. Yeah, and you'll find that in the pages folder, detail page. Yeah, so we are here now. So now we're going to fetch this blog. So right now we want to get what is after. We want to get this stuff as is after the blog. We want to get this slug that is after this blog, right? Because through this slug we are going to be able to fetch individual blogs through their slug. If you remember, that's what we did. That's what we configured in the backend. So once you get this part of the URL, remember, you understand? So remember, okay, over here. So we are going to use something called use params. So I'm going to say use params. So I'm going to import that. So I'm imported. Then I'm going to say const slug. So our const slug now should be equal to use params. So this use params now, it helps us to fetch dynamic data. For example, in our app components, we've already set that this is going to be a dynamic value, right? So with this use params here, we will be able to get dynamic data, and that is this here. This slug is that dynamic data. So we've gotten our slug now. We just have only the slug. So what is next now? So we'll be able to fetch this blog based on the slug. So we are going to use our use effects one more time. Remember, the use effects helps us to call a function whenever the page renders. So I'm going to say use effects. I'll hit enter there to import it, and I'm going to run it. I'm going to declare a function there. This function is meant to run once. So I'm going to pass in the dependency array, right? So it's going to just run once. So right now I'm going to say ashes, then it dot get. I'm going to say right now I'm going to simply use a template. I'm going to use a template literals. That's because I want to pass in an actual JavaScript variable and also a string together. So our string is the array, is our backend endpoint. I'm going to say HTTP, then I'll say it's forward // I'll say 127.0.0.1, then 8008 /blogs / then we are meant to use it. By default we are meant to get this blogs by their ID. By default, we are meant to get this blog by their IDs, but right now we want to get the blogs by their slug. So I'm going to pass in the value here in the string. So pass in the $sign there and pass in the slug up here. Right. So now right now we're going to be able to get we're going to get an object, a single blog object. So I'm going to say .then. Now I'll say response. Right, I'm going to say, let me just say console.log. Console.log is the same thing as print in Python. Console.log, now say response.data. So now I'm going to check out for any errors. I'm going to say .catch. I'm going to say error, and then let's print out any error message that might pop up. Console.log error.message. So we've gotten this now. So now whenever the page renders, we'll simply get something. It's the browser. So go back to the home page, and then we want to render again the detail page. Click on any of them. So now go down to your browser, to your console by pressing F12 on your keyboard, and then right here, what is happening? Okay, let's see what. Okay, right now let's go down to let this. Come back, go back. Oh no. So now click on a particular blog. Okay, so now you can see now we're having a particular blog object. Remember, I told you that in React, items are always being consoled twice. So now we have this JavaScript object. This you can see is JavaScript focus, right? This is the title up here, and this is the content. So right now, how do we represent this on the browser? How do we display this content on the browser? It's simple. Go back to the browser. Go back to the page. Like before, we have to declare a variable. I'm gonna declare a variable called blog. I'm gonna say const, and I'll say blog, and I'll say set blog. Understand? Blog is the actual variable. Why set blog is the method that helps to update the blog variable. Set blog, and I will then say use states, right? Use states, and then I'm gonna give it an empty object as its default value. An empty object as its default value, because right now we are simply trying to fetch a blog object, and over here I'm going to set this response to this to become the value of the blog, the new value of the blog. So whenever the page renders, I'm going to simply set the response we get to become the value of this blog. So right now I'm going to say set blog, and I'll say res.data. Okay, now our blog now is now pointing to this object that we returned, right? So that's it. So now once we've gotten this, what is the next step? So now we're going to go down to our page now. Remember, our blog has some attributes: the field, the title, the contents, the slug. So come over here, and then we're going to pass in the title. I'm going to say blog.title. Let's say blog.title. Remember, this blog here is an object. This is an object. This blog you see is an object now, because you understand. So it has the same structure as what we printed here. This is an object with an ID, the title, and the content. So right now I'm trying to display the title at the right spot where it is meant to be. That is over here, and over here I'm going to display the actual contents. I only need one paragraph tag. So over here, just remove this and say blog dot contents. So we have this done. I think we are good. So now we're going to close this now. Go back to the home page. So I'm going to click on Python focus. Alright, now we have Python focus. Python is on the body. The slug is Python. Go back to the home page. Click on JavaScript focus. Right now we have JavaScript focus, JavaScript on the body. That's fine. I think we're making some progress. Right, I want to work on this back button to also be able to redirect back to the home page. It's not difficult. Go back to the detail page. That we have the icon on the detail page. This is the back button. So it's surrounded by the A tag, by the anchor tag. So I'm going to replace that with the link element from React link, and over here link to closing link. Then I'm going to set to, instead of using href, I'm going to use a to prop, and then we're going to pass on the home page, which is /, and that's it. And we go down here, click on it. On the home page we are. Click on React JS. You can see on React JS instance. So we are done with the home page. We are also done with the detail page. So what next? I want to show you how we can add new blogs. So we are going to work on that next. Okay, so right now, once we're able to add new blogs, how do we go about that? I'm going to guide you guys through it. So the first step, now once we're able to get data from the title and the body field, once we're able to get data, whenever we click on this button, we want to get the values in these two fields. That's the first step. So go down to the add blog page. So I'm going to close some of those guys to avoid any kind of distractions. So we need the add blog page now. Oh, here we are on the page. So I'm going to declare two variables. I'm going to call one title and the other one content. Understand? So one is for the title field, the other is for the content field. Okay, so let's call this body content instead of having it called body. Where is it? Body. Okay, it's here. So I'm going to call it content, not body. So that's fine. So now let's declare our variables on top. Okay, so if I'm going to say const Let's say title and then set title. I'm going to set the value to an empty string first. Use states. Yeah, empty string, and the other one will be consts contents. I'll say set contents. I'm going to say use states empty string. Yeah. So next, now what we want to do next? Currently now, whenever we are typing, so what I want to do is this: whenever we are typing in any field, let's say if you're typing on the title field, I want to update the title variable. As I'm typing, I want to simply capture whatever I'm typing in here. The same thing for the content. The same thing applies to the content field, right? So how do you go about that? Okay, how do you go about that? So right now, this is the input field for the title. So I'm going to add an event listener. It's called the change event listener. It's called change. So whenever we are typing, the change event keeps triggering. It keeps getting called. So I'm going to call that listener on this field. I'm going to say I'm going to say on change. On change. This is how it is done. Right now on change. So whenever I type right now, I'm going to pass in an arrow function, and I'll pass the event object. I'll pass the event object itself. So I'm going to come over here and do. I'm going to say set title to event. Let me just say e.target.value. Right, so what I want to do, right? e.target.value. So now, whenever I type, the title variable will simply capture the value of what I typed in this title input field. I'll do the same thing for the content field, which is over here. Paste it, and then I'll just say set contents. So whenever I type, I'm now capturing the values that were passed into this two field. So guys, so now whenever I type into this title field, I simply update the title variable. If I type into the content field, I simply update the value of the content variable. So what next now? So I want to simply get these values in an object form. So here it says, okay, so I'll come up here and I'll just say const, let me just say new blog should be equal to objects, and I'll pass in title and then content. So you're going to come out in object format, understand? Or you can do like this. You can just say title. You can do a formal object and say title, and then come down here and say content, and then content, right? So right now this one here is the key. These are the key. These are the actual values. So let's leave it this way. So right now I'll simply print out this thing in the browser's console whenever I submit the form. So right now I'm going to come over here and create a function that will get called whenever the form is submitted. So I'm going to call this function. I'm going to say const. I'm going to say undo submit, and then I'll simply just come over here, call this function. This function is going to simply have the events elements, the event objects. Going to say e, and then I'm going to call this arrow function. Alright, I'm going to simply prevent the default browser's behavior. So by default, whenever you try submitting the form tries to reload. So if I put in something here, click here, you can see the page reloads. So I want to prevent this default behavior. I'll say come over here and say e does prevent default. So let's shift this, yeah. Move on and say e does prevent default. So I want to simply avoid the reloading of the browser, prevent defaults. Once that is done, I can now say console.log, and I'll say new blog, right? New blog. So that's that. So now I want to call this function whenever this form is submitted. So here's the function call. I'll come over here and add an event listener. I'm going to say onSubmit when the form is being submitted. I'm going to simply call the undo submit function. Undo submits. So I think that's that. Okay, so go down to the browser now, and then I'm going to say Vue.js full course. I'll say I love Vue.js. Yeah, I'll click on this, and let's open our terminal. Let's open the console. So I'm going to clear this, guys. Yeah, click on this, click submit. Right now, you can see we have printed out. You can see these are objects. You can say title is Vue.js full course. The content is I love Vue.js. So right now we've gotten the objects we want to send to the backend. So right now I want to go create a function that's going to accept this object. So let's start right now. So go down to we are going to simply go. Okay, I think I want to simply create the function that sends a post request to our backend. I want to create this function in the parent element of this add block page. And the parent element of this add block page is the app components. You can see the add block page was embedded in the app components. So right now I'm going to simply call I'm going to create a function in the parent component. I'm going to call it, let's say, I'm going to say const. I'm going to say const creates blog. Going to be an arrow function, and then we have this, and then I'm going to send an ashes request. I'm going to say ashes.post. Now we are checking out for a post request, right? As before, we have been doing get. So now it's time to make a post request, post. And then right now we are expecting the data. We'll be expecting the data we want to send to the backend. So we are meant to send an object, and this is the object over here. New blog. This is the object we are meant to send to the backend. So we are expecting that. I'm going to call that object. I'm going to call it data. So data, right? So I'm going to say ashes.post, and the URL we are going to be sending to is simply HTTP. Then I'll say 127.0.0.1, then port 8008 slash, and then I'm going to pass the data, right? Yep. So we have that there. I'm going to say dot, then I'll say console.log. Sorry, we need our response first. I'll say console.log response.data, and then we want to check out for any errors that might come our way. I'm going to say error, and then we'll say console.log error.message. Okay, we've gotten this now. So what's the next thing? So this is the function here. We want to call this function whenever we submit the form. So we need to pass this function as a prop. We need to pass this function to this child element called add block page. Remember, this app component is the parent component. So we need to pass this function to the child, which is the add block page element component. So in this add block page, whenever we submit the form, we are going to call this function and pass the actual data. This data means to also pass it to because we are expecting. Sorry, this is meant to be. This data is not meant to be up there. It's meant to be here in this function. So this data, we are expecting the data, and the data can be gotten from here. This is the data we are expecting. So you are meant to pass this function to this component. So I'm going to come over here and say create blog. Okay, and I'll just simply say equal to create blog. Yes. Okay, we've gotten that. So now we've passed it. So we're going to accept it in this component, and here we are. Let's say create blog. So if we have accepted it right now. So once we've accepted it, now we're going to call this function. Yeah, we're going to say create blog. We're calling it at the bottom there, create blog. And right away, we are going to simply pass this new blog as the data we are expecting. This data, we have it here. So I'm going to pass this new blog here. I'm going to say new blog. So once we've done this now, what I want to do now is that whenever we add a new content, I want to simply redirect back to the home page. So whenever we add something, we want to redirect to the home page. So over here, I'm going to declare a variable, and I'm going to call this, I want to say const navigate. It's going to be equal to use navigates. And I'm going to come over here and say navigates to the home page. Yeah. So now let's work on the alerts that displays whenever we add a new blog. We want to be able to display an alert that says blog added successfully. So go down to the browser, and we are going to search for React Toastify. Click on the first link. Okay, it's open. Click on the first link on the browser there. So let's get started. So you have to install it first. This first command, npm install save React Toastify. Okay, I'm gonna paste that here. Enter. Let's just wait to get installed, and once that is done, we're gonna scroll down. Okay, so now we're gonna simply have this guy imported in our main layout, in the main layout where we have the navbar and the footer. That's how it's done. So where is it called? Layout folder, main layout. So we're going to import this guy here. So we only need the toast container. We don't need the toast yet. Yes. And lastly, we're going to copy toast container as part of the main layout. That's how it is done. Just watch me. Yeah. So we've done that now. So after we've done this now, we're going to go down to the app.jxs. Where we are making a post request. So if our request is successful, we want to simply pop up this alert. So let's do that now. So I'm going to say toast the success. Yeah, and that's how it's done. Come up here and say toasts dot success. I'm going to simply say to import toasts is important. Just wait for it. Toasts. Yeah, click on the first one. Dot success. I will say blog added successfully. And let's hope this works. To the browser, and let's add a new blog. So Okay, so right now I want to add a new block. So let me just clear this guy. Let's add a new block. I'm going to say Laravel for beginners. Now I'll paste the body. Paste, let's close this. And click on the add block button. Click on it. Ouch. There was nothing happening. Let's say, okay, create blog is not a function. Create blog is not a function. Why is that? Let's see what the problem is saying. It's saying create blog is not a function. Well, it is a function. What is wrong? So right now it's trying to say this is not a function. Create blog is not a function. But that is a function. What could be the problem? So go down to your app. Let's go down to the app components. Here's a create blog function, and we passed it to the add block comp prop. Oh, sorry, this is meant to be passed inside the components. Oh, sorry for that noise. It's meant to be passed inside the component, something like this, yeah, and not on the route. So that was my mistake. So now go down to the page again and let's refresh. So let's try adding a new block. So I'm going to just say Laravel for beginners. Laravel is a PHP framework. I'll paste the body and click on add blog. Perfect. You can see we just added a new blog and we're redirected, but we are meant to see Laravel up here. What was the problem? Oh, Laravel was not added. What could be the problem? Let's see. Okay, and so right now our blog did not add up because we're on the wrong endpoints. So go down to the app component again. So it's going to be /blogs, right? /blogs. This is where it's meant to be. If you go down to the backend, from what we wrote on the backend here, this is it. From our, what is it called? From our URLs. So it has to be /blogs. You get, so not just. So I didn't add this blogs. That's why it didn't create. And once again, I noticed that we forgot to add the styles for our Toastify. The Toastify has a style. We need to add this. Copy this for this Toastify. Go down to your main, the main layouts. Just under a toast container, paste this there. This is fine now. Let's go back to the page and add one more time. Let's be sure everything is perfect. So we have our URL to add new blogs. That's good. To the browser. So let's add a new blog now. So right now we'll simply do Laravel for beginners, and then we'll paste in the blog contents. Click on this. Right now it says blog added successfully. That's fine. But still yet we can't find Laravel listed here. It's meant to list Laravel. Let's refresh. Oh, nice. You can see we have Laravel for beginners. So it's meant to fetch the latest 6 most recent blogs. It's meant to fetch that. But it was meant to add Laravel. I was not meant to refresh the page. So I'm going to add a new blog now. So right now, let's add a new blog post. So I'll say Angular JS for beginners. Now paste the body, paste. So if I click on blog, you can see we have a notification up there, right? And up here and down here, you can see we have Angular, right? That's perfect. So you can see how it's working. It simply lists out the latest 6 blogs we have on our database instead. So that's how it's listing them out. You get, so we have Angular, we have Laravel. If we click on the read more, you can read more on it instead. So right now we've covered the listing, we've covered the listing of blogs, which is over here, the listing of blogs, right? And also the viewing of the detail page. Right now you can also add new blogs. So next we're going to work on updating a certain blog. So we'll cover that next. Okay, so right now let's work on updating a given blog instead. So we've worked on blog listing. We can check out the detail page, and we can also add new blogs. So right now I want to work on being able to update a certain blog you get. So whenever I click on the update button, I want to have this form pre-filled with the current blog article. So back to the code now. From our routing, you can see here, this is a route for the edit blog page, line 33. Understand? So you can see over here we have a dynamic value there, which is a slug. So let's make the slug dynamic. So we are going to add the colon sign there. That has made the slug dynamic. I understand. So we are going to go down to our detail page. So this is the detail page here. So remember we have the edit. I'm going to locate the button that helps us redirect to the edit blog page. This is the button over here. This button I'm referring to. Let me show you. This button, I'm trying to locate this button, and it can be found on the blog detail page. And here it is. Here's the button. So right now we're going to simply do this. So I'll put on the curly braces using we're going to use template literals. I'm going to say blogs /edits / I'm going to put in the blog slug, which is a JavaScript value. So we'll say blog.slug. So after doing this now, go down to the browser. So click on the edit button right now. Click on it. Oh, sorry. Let's see what the problem is. Oh, sorry, that was my mistake. I was meant to add a / here. So then click back. So let's go back to home. So read more. So right now I want to edit this Laravel. I want to edit this blog post. So click on the edit button. Yep, so we are on the right page, and the URL up here is dynamic, you understand? So once we are on this page, what is the first thing? What do we want to do? We want to simply fetch the current blog. You understand? The blog with this slug. I want to fetch the blog with this slug I highlighted in the URL search bar. So now go down to the blog edit page now. The edit page of our blog. I'm there already. So on this page now, so I want to simply, whenever this page renders, I want to simply fetch the current blog I am about to make changes to. So over here, scroll down a bit. So we're going to use effects hook. Remember, the use effect helps us to run a function whenever our page renders, right? So over here, I'm going to say use effects, and then I'm going to send a function. So I'm just saying a get request to our database, ashes.get. We're going to simply just say, so I need I'm going to use a template literals. So I'm going to say HTTP, and then I will say 127.0.0.1 port 8008 /blogs. Then I need the blog slug, right? So I'm going to pass that here. I'll say slug. But right now, we need to get the slug. So I'm going to come up here and say const. I'll say slug. I'm going to get that from use params. With use params, you can get the slug. I'm going to say use params and hit enter. So this use params helps us to pick dynamic value in our URL. This use params helps us pick dynamic values in the URL. For example, this Laravel for beginners is a dynamic value. You understand? Laravel for beginners is a dynamic value. So with this use params, we're able to get the dynamic values in our URL. So that's where the slug comes in. So I was able to get the slug from this URL we get. So, and I was able to pass it here to fetch the current blog we are on. Understand? So we need to import ashes. Come up here and say import. Remember, the error message here says ashes is not defined, so you have to import it. So I'm going to say import ashes. So it's enter. It has been imported. So right now, because it's not our blog, right? Right now we can fetch the blog. So right now we need to create a variable. We need to create a variable where we are going to store this blog we are fetching. So I'm going to say const. I will say blog. Yeah, and then we'll do this. We're going to say set blog, remember, and then do use equal to use state. I'm going to create an empty object. Yes. So right now I'm trying to fetch a blog object, right? So if everything goes well, so we just say .then. If everything goes well, we're going to return the response, and we're going to simply set the response we get to our blog. This time we're going to say set blog to response.data. If there's an issue, we want to know what the problem is, we're going to just simply console the error to the browser's console. I'm going to say error there, and we'll simply do this. So say console.log error.message. Right, so okay, so right now let's import use states. Understand? So up here, so we have used it already imported. So what's next? So the browser, everything is fine. It's just so big, yeah. Everything is fine. So okay, so we'll come over here now. We're gonna simply just we're gonna come down here. We're gonna find the input field for the title. We're gonna add a value. We're gonna say the value for this field should be equal to, I'm going to say blog.title. Remember, right now we now have a variable called blog, and it has a field called title. This time, let's say by default, this blog is an empty object. So whenever our page renders, we send a get request to this endpoint to fetch the current blog. And when we fetch the blog, if everything goes well, we set the response we get to this block. So this right now, this block is no longer an empty object. It is now a block object. So I will simply console this out to the browser so you can see what it looks like. So right now I'll say console.log. I'll say response.data. So I'll show you what it looks like. So whenever the page renders, we want to see something. So right now you can see we're having this already. That's fine. So F12, or where are you? My browser's console. Ouch! It's not responding. Here's the console. So now the page renders, you can see what we have there. You can see now we have this block being printed out, being consoled. Well, if you check closely, the get request is being sent multiple times, and this is wrong. This is very wrong. So I tell you that you need to make it run just once. And how do we make that happen? It's by adding a dependency array, an empty array there. And once you do this, the request will be sent once. Understand? Once I can see it just stopped running. Again, so that's fine. So we've got to that now. So I said now I'm going to say for the input field, the value is going to be block.title. For the text field, for the text area, the value will simply be block.contents. Instead, value should be equal to block.contents. Right, so we've gotten this to now. We go down to the page right now. You can see what we have there. So if I go down to the home page, if I click on JavaScript focus, click on read more, if I click on edits, you can see what we have in there. We're having the actual information in the form. So what is left for us to do is for us to like make changes and then submit the form to implement the changes we made, right? Okay, now so right now I want to find a way to capture the data. Let's assume we are making changes. Right, I can say we can't make changes, right? If you type, I'm going to type in some things, but it's not able to work, right? That's because my value is fixed. It is fixed there. It's I said right now I can say for the input field, I said the value should be block.title, nothing block.title, nothing but the title of the blog, right? So I can't impute anything. I can't even delete it. I'm currently typing on my keyboard, but it's not working. So how do we make this? How do we make the value in this form controlled by React? How do we do that? So right now I'm gonna declare two more variables. I'm gonna call the first one. I'm going to come over here and say const title. So right now I'm going to title this. So title is going to simply be responsible for this block, for this field, right? So let me just declare. So I'm going to say title. I'm going to say set title. So I'm going to say use state, and then it's going to be an empty string by default. Same thing. I'm going to say set contents. I'm going to say content rather. I'm going to say set contents. That's going to be an empty string also. Use states. Right, so what I'm going to do is simple. So whenever our page renders, whenever we get our data, I'm going to say set title to be response.data.title, and over here I'm going to say set contents to be response.data.contents. So right now I'm going to simply console these two items out for you to see what they are. Let's console contents. So on the browser's console. Right now you can see we have JavaScript focus. You can see for the title we have JavaScript focus. For the body, this is the actual body, right? So that's perfect. So now I'm going to simply put title and content as the value of the input field. I'm going to say title and content. That's perfect. So we've gotten that. The browser, we have the same results. So what we cannot see add, and we can't delete, we can't add. So we need to make this a controlled input. So I'll go down to the fields. So the input field now, I'll add an event listener. I'm going to add the change event listener. I'm going to say on change. On change should be equal to. So it's going to be, so this is here. So right now it's going to simply hold the current events. The current events attribute. Going to put an event here. You can simply call it E. E is fine. So whenever we are on change, what is it called again? This change event is simply tracks the changes as a type in the form. Instead, as a type in the form, it's what's it called again? The event gets triggered as a type into the form. The event gets triggered. Instead, so it listens for the type event in an input field. So now, right now, what I want to do is this. Whenever I'm typing in the title field, I want to simply get the values I am typing in, right? So I'm going to simply say set title. Set title. Right now I'm trying to update the value of my title variable. I'm saying set title to e.target dot value. Again, so as I'm typing into that field, the title is being updated. This time it's being updated. And again, as it's been updated, remember we pass it as our value here. This has been updated, the value also changes. So now right now, I'm typing there. As it's typing now, the title is being updated and the value gets displayed in that field. That's because we already set the value to title here. That's why it's been displayed there. So we're doing the same thing for the content field. So pass that there and say set content. So as we type, it simply captures what we type into those input fields, the title field and the content field. So once we've gotten that now, we're going to set a new object, and that will be called, I'm going to just say const updated blog, comes updated blog. I'm going to call it, it's going to have the title field. We're going to say title should be equal to the title we declared up here, right? And the content should be equal to the content we declared up there, right? So once we've done this now, remember, once you are done updating the blog, we are meant to submit it, right? And before submitting, so we are going to add a submit event on this form. So up on top here is our form here. I'm going to say on submits. So we're going to listen for, what was it called again? We're going to simply listen for an action, for a function. So I'm going to call this function under submits. So right now this function is called under submit. I need to go declare that function on top here, and I'll just come over here and say costs under submits, and then so right now, remember, whenever we submit a form, the default values are the form is going to get reloaded. The browser reloads. So once to prevent that first, so we are going to simply just put in the events attributes here. I'm going to say if e.prevent default. So once prevent the default behavior of the form, we are trying to prevent the default behavior of our form whenever we submit it. Instead, so if I submit the form right now, if I submit this form, you can see, if I click on this page, you can see the form does not reload. Well, let's assume I remove this guy. If I remove this here, and I submit the form again, try again, so the form reloads. The form reloads, right? So I'm going to put it back. Yeah, so this e.prevent default prevents the form from reloading whenever we try submitting the form. So what I'm going to do now, I want to simply console this guy out, this function, this object. I we'll say console.log updated blog. So now updated blog, right? So I'm going to simply clean out every other console. I only need that once to run. Okay, our page is cleaner. It's the browser. Okay, right now if I click on this, let me refresh now. I'm going to say JavaScript full course for beginners. These errors, we are going to clear them. These are simply minor. We'll simply remove them. I'll find where they are. So, okay, so I'll say JavaScript full course for beginners, right? Whereby we want to simply print out, so we want to simply console this object, because we are meant to send this object to the backend to update our blog, right? So let's simply click on the edit button, click on it. Okay, right, we can see the object itself. You can see we have JavaScript full course for beginners. So it's able to capture our changes. So the next thing for us to do is for us to make these changes reflect on the backend. Okay, so before you make, okay, right now let's fix this warning we're having some warning messages, some warnings. So just copy this now. Control C. That's because JavaScript does not understand stroke minus. It's seen this as stroke minus line cap. You understand? So avoid this. Just copy that now. Copy. Let's go and search for it and fix it. So paste it here, and then here we have the stroke line cap. Okay, we can use now Jumbotron and NavBar, the Jumbotron. So you can see it here. So right now I'm gonna just simply okay, Ctrl Z. I'll simply paste it here. Okay, we only have one of it, so right here, here's this now. This is now fine. The same thing for the NavBar. So search for that. We only have one of it. So I think it's fine now. It's the browser. Refresh, clean the eye. Refresh it. Okay, we have this stroke width also. I'm going to copy this, Ctrl C, and then simply paste that here. Find where it's coming from. Okay, it's also in the Jumbotron, stroke width. I'm going to paste this. Okay, should be. We are going to remove this. Yeah, it's same thing here. Okay, I expect you guys can do this by yourself now. Just search for it and find where that is. And I up, and one more, we have this stroke line join. Just copy and then paste there. It's in Jumbotron also, and then over here. I think it should be fine now. Browser, clean this. Okay, perfect. So our console is now clean. So what next? So the next thing for us to do now is for us to make these changes reflect on the backend. So let's work on that. Okay, so right now it's time for us to make these changes reflect on the backend. Because right now we are simply just printing out the updated blog on the browser, on the console. So the aim is to make this get to the backend, right? So to the browser, to our code now. I'm going to go down to the parent components of this edit block detail page of this component. I'm going to go down to the parent components and then write the function that is going to simply hit our backend. And the parent component is the app component, right? Because that's where we have this block detail page embedded. This is the edit block page, and it is inside of the parent of the app component. So right now I'm going to simply declare a variable now. I'm going to call this variable, I'm going to say update blog, I'm going to say const updates blog, and then I'm going to pass in the data. This data is simply the new blog data we want to send to the backend. And I'm also going to get in the slug. So I want to get this blog by its slug, right? And then this is how we do it. Yep, so as I'm going to say ashes dot puts. Understand dot puts now. So I'm trying to send a put request. I'm trying to update something that already exists, right? So I'm going to put on the template literals. I'll say http under this, and then I'll say 127.0.0.1 and then 8008 slash, and then what else? I'm going to pass the slug, right? Yeah, our slug. Remember, right now we don't know the value of our slug and our data. We are only going to get it. We are only going to get these values when it's time for us to call this blog in this component. We are going to call the blog whenever we submit the form, right? So right now these values are unknown. They are unknown for now. So right now I'm going to pass in the data. I want to set the backend. This is data here. I'm going to say data. Yep. So that's that. And if everything goes well, I want to simply say dot then. If everything goes well, I would love to simply toast out a response. I want to say toast the success. So I want to simply display the success message that says blog updated successfully. Blog updated successfully. Right, and then I think that's it. And if there's a problem, if there's an error, I will simply want to know what the error is. I'll say .error.catch. I'll simply just say error. Let's just simply console.log error.message. Yes, we've done this. That's good. So right now we are going to pass this blog, this function as a prop to this components. I want to say updates blog should be equal to update blog. Yeah, so this is the key. This is the value. This can be called whatever name you like. It can be called whatever name. This first value. What matters most is this is the value itself. Understand? So right now I'm going to simply pick up this value in these components, in the edit block component, right? So I'm currently in the edit block component. So up here I'm going to simply pick up that function that was passed. I'm going to say updates log, updated blog. So that's what I called it. Sorry, update blog is what I called it, not updated blog. Update blog. Yeah, update blog. That's a function. So right now I'm going to call this function whenever we try submitting. So I'll just come here and say update blog. Remember, this function is expecting 2 arguments from what we declared up here, expecting data and slug. That's fine. So I'll come over here. I'm going to pass the data. It's going to be this updated blog. That's the data. I'm going to copy this. I'll paste it here. And the slug is going to come from where? Okay, so our slug is going to come from here. Remember, we are getting the slug from the params. So our slug comes from here. I'll come over here and I'll call it slug, right? Okay, that's fine. So once that has been done, so whenever we update the blog, we want to simply navigate back to the home page. So up here I'll say const navigate. Well, it should be equal to use navigate. Yeah, and then navigate back. So once navigate back to the home page, you know, say navigate back home, and then we'll pass in the paths, the URL paths. So I hope everything works fine. So up here. So let's close this, guys. So right now I want to simply update Laravel. I want to say Laravel for complete beginners, right? You understand? So we can update both the title and the content. That's your choice. But for me, I'll simply work on updating the title. You understand? So I want to say Laravel for complete beginners, right? So I hope this works. Let me check my API, my and where I'm sending my post request to, because I made a mistake here. It's meant to be /blogs, then this. Thank God I saw that. Okay, that's how it's meant to be. Okay, so we've done this now to the browser. Right now, let's update this guy. Read more. So, edit. I'm going to say Laravel for complete beginners. Complete beginners. You don't need to know anything about Laravel. So that's what. Right now, click on this. Ouch! It did not. Nothing works, right? There's nothing. It didn't work. We didn't see our toast. That's fine. Let's refresh the page. It didn't work. So what could be the problem? Oh, I saw what the problem is. We're meant to add from the backend. Backend is saying that we're meant to add a /. We are still on it, so we are meant to add an extra / here. Whenever you're making a post request or a put request, you're meant to have a / at the end. That's what the backend complained about. That's you call this URL via posts, but it didn't add a /. It didn't append a / instead. So that's fine. So what else to this? Yeah, and over here, make sure we have. Okay, now let's try again, and I hope everything works this time. Okay, refresh. Back here, edit now. Edit this. Let's say Laravel for complete beginners. So, yep, you can see it says blog updated successfully, and right now it is now saying Laravel for complete beginners. Let's update JavaScript. We're going to say JavaScript full course train 24, and then I'm going to say JavaScript is a highly versatile programming language, high-level programming language. So right now we added highly to it, and we added train 24. So we've made some changes now. So click on this, okay, and we come down here. JavaScript full course train 24, and JavaScript is a highly versatile, high-level programming language. You can see our changes are being reflected, and they are also getting down to the back end. That's perfect. So right now, let's work on deleting a blog post. Okay, guys. So we are on the last part now. It's time for us to delete certain blog posts. You get so. Right now, first of all, whenever we click on this button, we want to simply have the modal pop up. So let's work on that. So it's simple. By default, remember I set the modal to display none. The modal is there. It's meant to display. So I'm going to go down to JavaScript. Go down to your modal to your components folder. We have the modal.jxs. Yes, and this code, this JXS code have a CSS code, which is modal.css. I will check up here. We set display to none. That's why you are seeing nothing on the page. So I'm going to set it up right now. I'm going to set it to flex, display to flex, and then wow, so the browser now, you can see what we have there. Boom, the modal is on our face. We can't do anything about it. You can see the page is not clickable. So here is how I want to go. Here is how I want to go about this. I want to make sure that this modal only pops up whenever I click on the edit button, on the delete button. You understand? So how do we fix that? So go down to your blog detail page, the detail page of your blog. This is our detail page of the blog, right? And our modal was embedded just here. This is the modal. You understand? So it's right. The modal is on the detail page. You can see that, right? So now I'm going to declare a state variable. I'm going to call this display modal. We'll say const display. Or let's say this. Let's say show modal, and then I'll say set show modal. Yeah, and by default the value is gonna be simply false. I'm gonna say use state set to false. Yes, use state set to false. So my aim now is that whenever I click on this delete button, or is it button? Yeah, I think this button, I want to simply negate the value of that modal of this variable you understand. Right now the value is false. If I negate false, it's gonna simply give me true. My aim is to simply negate the value of this modal. So how do you go about it? It's like this. Okay, over here I'll just say const. I'm gonna say negate modal, negate it. Understand? This is how I go about it. So and now I'll simply do this. I'll say set show modal. Yeah, so right now I'm gonna simply get the current value of show modal. The current value is what? Current value is false, and then right here I'll simply negate the current value, negate it. Right? So what I want to do now. So whenever I click on that on the delete button, it's going to simply negate the modal and turn it to true. Understand? So right now, come over here, and I'll simply enclose this in a curly braces, and I'll set it to, I'll say show modal, and I'll say and. So what's going to happen is this. Now this is what it means now. So by default, this show modal is set to false, right? And over here, I'm saying show modal, and so if this guy is false, this modal won't get displayed, right? That what it simply means. If show modal is false, it would get displayed. This modal would not. But if show modal is true, our modal is going to simply get displayed. If you go down to the browser now, you see it appeared, right? That's because our show modal value is false. So whenever this is false, the value whenever we are using this AND operator in JavaScript, whenever the left is false, the right side will be ignored. That's what it means. But whenever the left side is true, the right side will be given some attention. Understand? So once the left is false, the right side will be ignored. So that's what this AND operator does. So right now, the show modal is false. I can see the modal has disappeared. So right now, what I want to do is that now I'm going to simply call this function whenever I click on the delete button. So now here's the delete button. I'll simply come over here and say unclick, and I'll set that to negate modal. So whenever I click, so now right now, if I click on this guy, the modal will pop up. That's because modal has turned to true. This show modal variable is now true. Understand? So whenever I click on that button, we call this function, and this function simply helps to negate the show modal value. If the show modal is false, if I click on the button, the show modal turns true. If the show modal is true, if I click on the button, the show modal turns false. Understand? So okay, so click, you can see the show modal is not true, and our modal is able to pop up, right? So that's fine. That's done. So what is the next thing to do? Next step for us to take is this. I want to simply have the name of my blog attached here. Are you sure you want to delete this blog article? So how do we go about that? So, but one thing, we have to do something now. So let's work on simply taking off this modal. So whenever I click on any of those buttons, I want this modal to just disappear, right? So how do you go about that? I'm going to simply pass this function as a prop down to this to this guy. It's called negate modal. Negate modal. That's fine. So yeah, here now. Negate modal, right? So I'll go down to the modal. I'll go down to the modal components, which is this guy. So right now, whenever I click on any of these buttons, why did this appear? Whenever I click on any of these buttons, I'm going to simply have this guy disappear. So, and I'll say over here, where is the, okay, then I'll say, for these are the buttons, right? I'll simply just add an on-click. So whenever I click on the button, call that function on-click. On-click should be equal to, okay, so call it here, negate modal. So whenever I click on any of those buttons, we'll just call the function negate modal. And then same thing here. So that's fine. Perfect. And lastly, for this, for the icon on top, we have this SVG icon that says close modal. I'll do the same thing there too. So I'll paste that there. Yeah. I was trying to this icon. So just save. Okay, it's arranged properly now. So it's the browser. I click on this, it disappears. That's fine. So one more thing now. So let's make sure that it has the title of our blog on top here. So it's not difficult. So it's from the detail page. I think we have our title. From detail page. Okay. Detail page here it is. Okay, what we can do is simple. We can just simply create a new variable. We're going to say const title. Const, I'm going to say title. I'll say set title. I'll say use states. It's going to be an empty string. I'm going to say over here, I'm going to say set title to response.data.title. That's fine, and then we're going to pass title as a prop. Maybe a prop what we pass from parent to child. I'm going to say as a prop to this model, I'm going to say title equals to title. And then once we've done this now, we are going to simply accept this title in our model up here. And then we're going to say, here is that, are you sure? Are you sure you want to delete this blog? And we're going to put the title of the blog here, and I'll just say title. So let's see again. Click on this. You can see, are you sure you want to delete this blog? Node.js full course, right? You can see it there. So if I say yes, I want to. Okay, now if we want to, right? We can pop up the modal and make it disappear whenever I click on the buttons. So the next thing we want to do is simply to make, whenever I click on this button, right, on, what's it called, whenever I click on this button, yes, I'm sure, delete, we want to simply delete the blog post, period. So to the browser now, so our code now, so our app component, which is this. So you're going to write another function that helps us in deleting our blog post. So now let's do that. Okay, so right now let's work on the function that will help us delete the blog on the back end and also on the front end. So now we're going to create another function here. We're going to call it delete blog. Let's say const delete blog, delete, and then. So right now we also need to want to get the slug. So we're going to get this. We're going to get the blog by a slug, right? And then what else? I'm going to say ashes.delete. And they're going to put the URL, the same thing as what we have here. Just copy this guy. Paste it here. Perfect. So we've got that there. I should have deletes. Why is this like this? Sorry. Let's copy this again. Okay, then we're gonna say the dot then. So I want to simply just hit on an alert message in the dot then, right? So we just say response. And we'll just say toast to the success. So we just say blog deleted successfully, and then for the then we'll say catch. We don't catch the there's an error. We want to know what the error is. I'm gonna say console.log. Console.log. I'm gonna say error. That's message. That's fine. So we've gotten this. So what next? We're going to pass this function as a prop to this. So where? I think to the. Okay, sorry, I just realized something. We are not meant to call this function here. Remember, right now this. Oh, sorry, what just went wrong? Line 29. Let's see. Okay. Ctrl Z. What happened there? Oh, I made a mistake. I'm not sure why. So I mistakenly cut out. I was meant to copy and not cut out. Oh, that's okay. Now that has been fixed. So right now we are meant to call this function. Remember, we are calling whenever we click on this. We are meant to call this delete block function. Right. So I am meant to declare this function in the parent element of this modal. And the parent element is the detail page, understand? So, and not the app component. So I'll simply cut this out, and then go down to the detail page. And then we'll call the function here. Yeah, just here. Yeah, so that's it there. Now let's make sure we have ashes and toast imported. Okay, we have ashes now. Let's import toasts. I'm gonna say imports toasts. I'm going to import that from it's not suggesting this for me. I import toast from Toastify, from React Toastify. So we have that already. Okay, so we're going to pass this delete block as a prop to the modal over here. Delete block equals to delete block. Deletes block, right? Yep. So we've gotten this. So back we're gonna simply go and receive this. Receive this delete block in this modal, right? So we're gonna say delete block. Okay. So right now we have this delete block now. So when are we going to call this function? When is the right time to call it? Okay, so what we're going to do now is this. Remember, we have this. Whenever we click on this yes I'm sure button, this button up here, it is meant to delete the block and also hide this modal. Understand? So what's going to happen now? So I'm going to declare a different function. I'm going to call this function up here. I'm going to call this function. I'm going to say const deletes and hide block, deletes and hide modal, deletes block. Okay, let's say deletes current block, So this function will do two things. So first of all, it's going to simply call this function. This right now it's going to simply call this function that is meant to delete the actual block, right? That you understand. So and this, yes, it's going to simply do what? call this function that is meant to delete the actual blog. And if I could remember, this function is accepting it needs an argument, right? Okay, so what was there? Go down to the detail page. You're meant to have the value for okay. We have now it needs an argument called slug, right? And I think what I'm thinking is I've already have slug defined up here, right? So we don't need this slug over here again. We don't need this slug over there, so we can stick with what we already have defined here instead. So now, okay, that's fine. So this function is meant to send the delete request to our backend to delete a particular blog. All this function is meant. So we are calling the function in this modal instance. So calling the function over here. And once you call this function, once to also negate this modal, once to also hide the modal pop-up. So we are going to also call negate modal. Yes. So this function deletes the blog and also hides the modal. And we are going to call this function on this button. Okay, so we are going to look for the button. The button should be just here. I think it's called yes, I'm sure this button now. So we are going to call that function. I think I copied. Let me copy this guy. Delete current blog, copy. And then this is the button over here. Paste it here. I'm super sure. I hope it works. Let's be hopeful. To the browser now. So cancel. If I click on here, I say yes, I'm sure. No, let's create a dummy blog. Now I'm going to just say CSS, HTML, and CSS for beginners. And CSS for beginners. We just pass in some content here. Pass the same. I just pass the same. Yeah, just and then add blog has been added. So we have this, right? I have this guy. Wants to delete this blog. So read more, and then let's delete and say yes, I'm sure. Oh, it says blog deleted successfully. We are meant to redirect, but we did not redirect. So back to the home page. Oh, you can say it's actually deleted the blog. You can see it's no longer on the home page. So now let's redirect. Let's work on the redirecting. So we are going to simply just up here. I'm going to say const navigate should be equal to use navigate, and they're going to say navigate, and then yep. So this is what we want to do. So let's try it again. Add a new blog. I'm going to say HTML. Okay, paint. Let's just add multiple. Let's make it here, and then okay, add blog. Perfect. So we have this guy here. Let's delete again. We are saying no, it cancels. Right now I say okay, that's fine. Right now deletes. You can say blog deleted successfully. And right now we don't have the article, we don't have the blog on the page anymore. It has been deleted. Okay, so right now we've been able to cover the basic functionalities of this application. We can list out the blog post, we can list out our blog articles, we can create new blogs instead, so we can also check out the detail page. You can also decide to delete a certain blog if you want to, right? So we've gone quite a long way instead, so and we've come to the end of this tutorial. So if you gain some value, do you want to subscribe to the channel, like the video, understand? So thank you for watching, and we'll see you again in the next video. So stay blessed and bye bye.